Hello, Knockouts. Tanya TKO here, and I'm really excited about today's video. Today, we are going to be looking over Crystaline's video from the Pink Pill that she did last week with Jordan Harbinger, who is a millionaire who came on to just school Kevin KittenHeels Samuels about what true men of wealth look for and what motivates them, etc. Because we have a lot of people who are faking the funk in the manosphere, who are pretending as if they're in some sort of club that they have no no receipts of actually being in, and they are misleading unknowing youth. Listen, they're misleading. Oh, let me get this larger. Sorry. Let's start this again. All right. Hello, Knockouts. Tanya TKO here, and I am a self-love specialist from TanyaTKO.com. I hope you learn how to love yourselves and one another. I am a certified life coach. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I have a specialty in relationship coaching. I am deemed by Fox and NBC a relationship expert. And so I am here to assist you all and also assist one of my YouTube sisters, because when I looked at the video last, I saw that everybody had not seen the video, and there's still men who are commenting on my posts and commenting on the follow-up videos that I did, who are saying, yeah, seven-figure man. No, sorry, excuse me. Let's rewind the rhythm, my eye. Horse, I hate when this thing I'm sorry. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. Come on in, everyone. Come on in. We are, listen, this part is going to be edited out. You are on the Tanya TKO live channel right now, and this is the channel where we record the videos live. If you'd like to see the videos after they're already edited, you can just go to Tanya TKO TV, and the videos will be up there in a few days. That way you don't have to sit through the mistakes and the restarts and all of that other stuff like we do here. All right. So let's just rewind that part a little bit. Okay. And there are men who are coming into my comments and they're like, no, that's not what a six-figure man wants. Meanwhile, listen. Quiet is kept. The Census Bureau shows that the average Black man in America is making $23,000. Now that averages out from the wealthy to the extremely poor. And so there are a lot of people who are talking about things that they don't know and don't understand and don't have access to themselves. And they are making up this fantasy inside of their minds about what is what. And a lot of them, they don't know what they're talking about, and they're misleading people who are impressionable, in dire need of validation and information. And what I want you all to do is I want you all to share this video and allow people, so like anybody that you see cracking jokes or saying what it is that they think that they know, I want you to share this video, not this video in particular. I put the link to the Pink Pills video inside of the description of this one. So what I want you to do is I want you to watch her full video. We're going to dive into bits and pieces of it that I feel that you need to hear so that you can get a sense for how a seven-figure man feels, because there's a person who has come out by the name of KittenHeels Samuels, and he is purporting what a high-value man looks for and is like. And men who are wealthy, they don't use terms like high-value man. These are catchphrases and terms that are coined on the internet for people who are trying to get clicks and making money off of the unsuspecting people who, instead of really upping their own self-love, they want to try to beat the self-love out of another person, beat you down to their level so that they could be like, oh, now I have access to you. Because the issue isn't that they feel that the women are expensive. The issue is that they feel that they can't afford them. So they want to beat the women down to their level and then be like, now I have access. Now I could poke in and out, fill you up of my spawn, have you squirt my spawn out into the world, and then have you do all of the investment in my spawn. I am detached in my funk and downtrodden demeanor, and then come back and then blame you onto how the spawn turned out. Meanwhile, this person made the decision not to be there to craft the upbringing of their own spawn. So yeah, so there are a lot of people, look, how you do anything is how you do everything. And when people come to a person like Kevin KittenHeels Samuels and they're looking for direction, they have to realize that when you come to a toxic source, it's like you don't get fresh drinking water from a toxic cesspool. You don't. There may be water there, but the water that you may ingest can be poisonous to your body. So you have to use your own discernment. You have to branch out. There are many of us who don't have access. Like that young lady said, she didn't have access to men who made six figures. And when I did my video, look, I was a little more raw in my video because I went off because I realized that we have a bunch of conquered men out there leading other conquered men, and nobody really know what in the hell they're talking about. And then I came up with this statement. Listen, we're past 30 seconds, right? Okay, because YouTube is going to get on me for being vulgar. But I came up with this statement. I realized in the land of the dickless, the one testicled man is king. Do I need to say that again for you all? In the land of the dickless, the unitesticled man is king. And so we have a bunch of conquered men who are rolling around with one another, spouting off things that they don't know about. And they are the biggest amongst the bums, the king of bums. He's a king of bums. And so listen, I have a video on my channel where Kevin Samuels was exposed for being a fraud. So check that video out and we'll jump right into it. Hello, everybody. Hello, we are live right now and you are on the right channel right here to be able to get your comments into the broadcast. We are going to jump right now into Crystalline's video. And I implore you, please listen, support the creators who support you. I heard that Kevin Samuels' subscribership went up by 200,000 people over the past week after he went viral for lambasting that girl. I did a video yesterday where there was another Black man who came out attacking me because I made a video about those white girls who were saying those horrible things about Black men in the comment section. So instead of being angry at white women, instead of being angry at white men, instead of being angry at other Black men, he's come out to try to kick Black women in the uterus and try to stomp us down, etc. And so there are a lot of men out there who think that you're an easy mark. They think that you're an easy target, and they support just vile content. So I'm telling you, support the content that supports you. Support Black female content creators, support Black content creators, support content creators who make the type of content that make you feel full on the inside. Okay? Look, that's all I'm going to say on that. Okay? Happy holidays, everybody. Let's jump into the video. Let's jump in. So remember, oh, darn it. I'm going to be jumping around in the video, because I want you to watch the full video. I'm not playing the full one here. I'm just going to play bits and pieces so that you can get a sense for where this man is coming from. And like I said, support her video. The link is in the description. And if she's around and there's something that she wants to add when we get closer to the end of this broadcast, I invite her to come on and speak a few words on just what the experience has been like since this video has gotten up and has made its circulations. I heard some things about the way Black women have been reacting to it that just I find very troubling and hard to believe. But after I did that video with the Asian man who was telling Black women to know their worth and the way that Black women were behaving, I kind of disheartenedly got the idea that maybe some of the stuff that she said was true. Like Black women are rejecting praise and upliftment from it just I just don't, I don't even want to. I'm afraid. I don't even want to say it out loud. I'm sorry. I find it hard to believe that we would be so self-sabotaging, that we would stop the adoration from other people because they don't, they're not Black, or they're not a Black man, or it's like one-sided loyalty is for suckers. That's a term Brooklyn Blue coined a few years ago. One-sided loyalty is for suckers. It's like, how long do we sit here being loyal to people who are not loyal to us? On Paris Milan's channel, she talked about Melanesia and how when the white people came over, the men of that country, they were brown skinned people. They abandoned the women for white women, and the women there were like, "Oh no, the hell you didn't!" And they said, "To hell with that." They leveled up to the white man, left the men there in their sacrifice and squalor, and moved the hell on. But here we are still fighting. We're on the front lines. We're still giving our allegiance, and it's disheartening. It's disheartening. All right, so let's jump into this. This is a video that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you all, and I want to hear your thoughts. I will be looking through the comments as we play this. So let's jump right in. I'm going to scrub around. I took some notes about, so at 21:15, he describes what a high value male is. I want you to hear his description. So we're going to come in right here at, let's come a little bit before 21:09. Perfect. And let's get this party started. Here we go.
What do you define as a high value man?
I mean, this is going to be a little bit of a flexible definition, but to be honest, somebody who has principles that they adhere to that are actually transparent, and they can be good or they can be bad, I suppose, right? You know, there are guys that I worked with when I was a Wall Street attorney that were like, money is the most important thing, power is the most important thing, but they didn't necessarily mistreat people and they didn't lie to people, and I thought that was admirable, even though I disagreed with their values. I really didn't think money and power were important, you know? But there are a lot of people that mislead others or are guided entirely by their insecurities. And that's the video that I'm sure you're going to talk about in a second, where, you know, you see people that are just projecting their baggage onto other people and making them feel bad because they don't really have transparent principles. They don't really have values. Like, I guarantee you, if we ask the guy in the video if he has principles, values, whatever, he will say yes, but he would not necessarily be able to articulate those, or he'd give us some boilerplate garbage. So a high value man has values that they and goals that they go after and achieve, but they're transparent about them. You know, they might say something like, I want to get married and I want to have kids and I want to build a career, but my family comes first. And then they act in accordance with those values. They don't go around cheating all the time. They don't work 7 days a week and never see their kids because their career is more important. They don't end up, you know, taking stupid risks to make more money and put their family at risk. You know, you have people that adhere to their values, and people slip up from time to time. I'll give them that. But, you know, you have a high value guy as somebody that goes after what they want and is transparent about it, isn't rude about it, doesn't push their insecurities off on other people, and is willing to, in many cases or most cases, is looking for a partner, you know, that is going to be on the same page. You know, I don't see, it's easier to, it's sort of like porn, you know it when you see it, right? With a high value man, right? Like you don't necessarily need like an academic definition. I know a lot of guys that they look high value, they're wealthy, they're doing well in their business, but their personal life is a mess. You know, that detracts seriously from somebody's value as a partner, you know, and you might take different types of value inside a relationship and both in your career. So a high value man, I assume what you're asking, is somebody who has both their career and their personal life together, right? They're not a workaholic with no friends. They're not somebody who's divorced twice and has an estranged family, never sees two kids that they, you know, that are 13 now. They had when they last saw them when they were 2, right? Like, they're not that person, but they wear a suit, so they're high value. No, that's not what that means, right? So like and I know that's kind of where you're going with
oh
this,
my
with
God,
the
the shade just got me cold.
Ooh,
the shade.
Okay, you know what? Listen. Okay, so you heard him give the definition right there. So he talked about a man whose values are in line with what it is that he's saying, a higher vibrating man, a man who is more than just throwing on a suit and thinking that you're some high value man, but you're nasty and you're toxic and your life is a mess. And like Kevin KittenHeels Samuels, it said that he's divorced twice, that his children don't respect him. I've heard a lot of different things. Like don't quote me on the children part, because I've heard different people saying different things. I'm not in his life, so I don't know. I've only known the toxicity that I had seen publicly, and also have heard that he's twice divorced, that he can't keep a woman. Regardless of all of this stuff that he's saying, that women run from him in his personal life, that they don't want, they it's like, ugh, they can't deal. They can't deal. So we're going to dive into some more of this video, because he talks about, in the next part, he talks about how he feels about this woman's looks, because Kevin KittenHeels Samuels was attacking her looks, saying that she wasn't pretty enough. And let's hear from a millionaire, because one of the brilliant things that Crystalline did is that she one up these men. He's talking about 6 figures. She came and she brought another digit on there, 7 figures. Let me do that again. She went and brought another digit on there, 7 figures. She brought a man who out-earns him, even according to what it is that he's claiming that he's bringing in, even though there's no evidence of that. And you'll see in that Kevin Samuels video exposed, you'll see it in that. All right, let's go forward. Let's get this back up on the screen. All right. Let's scrub through till we get to the next part. At 26 minutes, he describes what he thinks of her looks. So let's go right before 26. Get right here. Let's see. What is that? Oh, that's the thing. I thought.
So, Jordan, let's talk about.
And you remember the young lady, right? Let's scrub and see if they show the.
What did you think of the woman?
Okay, so let's scrub. So this is the video. If for those of you who are new,
I mean, at this point,
let's scrub.
The thing has gone.
Here it is. This is the young lady. Remember her?
Get this bigger.
Remember her? That was the young lady who came out. She makes 6 figures. She wanted a man who makes 6 figures.
By the way, this website talks down to people who read it, but that's a different subject.
Right. I mean, I don't really.
So this is the young lady, right?
Understand. That's a whole other conversation about these types of things.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So you remember the young lady? She came out with her cute little shirt on. She said she was a size 3, and the guy just attacked her. I wonder if they're going to play it in here. They may play it.
Yeah. Hood site. So I'm like, what?
What is your advice?
No. Okay, so she comes to him for advice, right?
Remember, advice, man, because you're not listening to me. This is why I always recommend you need therapy. Because you seem like a sweet woman, but you're not getting it.
You're being so mean.
I'm not being. Don't tell me I'm being mean. I'm about to be mean. I get tired of you broads telling me I'm being mean because you cannot handle the goddamn truth. You called my show on a day that you ain't even supposed to be here, and I honored the call and sat here and tried to help you, and I'm telling me I'm being mean. Get the fuck out of my phone.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Every time I hear that, I'm triggered by abuse. I don't like abusiveness. I don't like abusive men. It triggers me. And I just, when I see that every time, it just makes me cringe, because it makes me want to just start boxing. I was raised in a house with a man who was a boxer. So for those of you who don't know, and as a matter of fact, I want to do a video with my dad for you all. So let's jump up to the 26-minute mark so that we can get to what this millionaire thinks of her looks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, let's talk about, first, let me ask you, what did you think of the woman? You saw the whole clip. What did you?
Yeah. What did I think from what sort of? What do you mean? From what perspective? What do I think?
From an aesthetic standpoint, he said that she's average at best.
I would disagree with that. I think that the first thing I noticed was that she was attractive. So I think earlier in the video he said she's like a 5 or something like that. I don't think that's even remotely close. I don't put, I'm decades past putting women on a number scale, but if you're going to force me into it, she's definitely not a 5. That's an attractive woman. Unless there's something I'm not seeing below, but from a face perspective, like she's very attractive and she's well dressed and she speaks in complete sentences. I mean, come on, a 5 is somebody that is like undesirable, period. Right. And he says that kind of thing to her to make her feel bad and to put her in her place, as he probably, thinks he's doing. So
listen, I want you to hear this part because he talks about why this man is speaking that way. It's not to help her. It's to what, and some of you have kind of picked up on it in the comments. I posted a few of your comments a few seconds ago, but listen, it's to put her in her place. Listen.
Oh, that initially was what struck me as just kind of horrifying in a way, and rude and unnecessary. It's weird because he couches his advice, and I'm going off on a tangent, so feel free to stop me, but he couches his advice in like he goes, you need to go to therapy. And I'm like, oh, good. He's recommending therapy. And then he's like, because you broads this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay, you just discredited yourself.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of therapy. I think people should do it when they have actual problems to handle. But her problem isn't I have a delusional opinion of myself that's unwarranted. Her problem is she listens to guys like that. I think that's like a bigger problem. I don't really get what this guy's deal is, but when I learned more about him from you, I was like, okay, this is like an unhealthy guy who's had unhealthy relationships, who isn't high value, not standing up for his own values. Why is he divorced 2 times? Why does he not have a healthy relationship? And if you're giving advice, I did talk radio for a long time with Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla and doing Loveline and shows like that. If someone makes you mad on a call, you don't have this weird emotional reaction where you're like, wah, get off of my phone, I'm going to curse at you. Why would you do that? Are you a child? Yeah. Are you a child? My kid gets angry when I take away his toys. Is that what you, as a 51-year-old man or whatever, is that what you were supposed to act like? Would you want your kids to act like that? I wouldn't even want my kid to act like that. So
okay. So you hear that, right? You hear it. So he's talking about this man's temperament and how this man behaves and what he thinks of this woman's looks and how she's an attractive woman. I mean, she's more than average. It's like those statements were said to put her in her place. And then listen, there's something important that I want you to hear. Let's scrub through to 2850. Where he talks about how this woman was defenseless. She was defenseless.
To somebody who isn't really doing anything. She didn't call up and insult him or anything like that. She just, quote unquote, isn't listening to his advice. She's defending herself in a way, not even, barely defending herself. Mm-hmm. And he thinks that that's somehow offensive because she's not fully submitting to what he says and saying, oh, you're so smart.
You hear that, right? She's not fully submitting to him. So he wanted her to call in, submit to his will and power and word. And somebody asked in the comment section, and there's so many comments coming through. There's almost 800 of us in here. Go ahead and thumbs up the video and leave your comments. I am able to see your comments now because we are live. And somebody asked, who certified him? I'm looking for that comment. Here it is. Mel says, who certified Kevin to give dating advice? This is what happens far too often in our communities. And I had to ask that guy, the one that I did the video with, because one of the things that Crystalline did that was really important, and I want you to go watch her full video of this, right? Link is in the description. One of the things that she did that really, I had an epiphany when she did it. And this is why in the beginning of my videos, now I announce myself with my own certifications. Because before I would just say, oh, I'm a self-love specialist from tinytko.com. No, I'm more than that. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a certified life coach with a specialty in relationship coaching. I've taken the time to invest years into crafting my talking points, into crafting my knowledge and my education. And I'm also applying to an Ivy League school right now to get my master's in psychology, because I want to be able to be of service to you all. Do no harm. That is the first principle in the medical field, the first unofficial, official principle in the medical field. First, do no harm. And there's so many people out there who are doing harm because they just don't know. Like I did a video with Mr. Let Go after this whole thing had blown up, right? And in the video, Mr. Let Go was talking about wigs. Remember, I put my wig on and was dancing like Tina Turner. And Mr. Let Go was talking about Black women in wigs and just repeating other things that he's heard on like Red Pill channels or wherever he's heard the stuff, because we are a conglomeration of the things that we have learned. But if you're learning from unverified sources, what is it that you're really learning, right? And I had to do a survey with his audience, and I'm like, Black women, how many women in here, how many of your fathers have made negative statements about your natural hair? And during the broadcast, he's like, oh my God, I just had an epiphany. Oh, I didn't realize. Son, you over here talking to Black women about why they're wearing wigs and you don't even understand the history of it. You don't understand. It's like, you are only as good as the research that you have done, or rather your information is only as good as the research that you've done. And you're up here attempting to counsel Black women, and you don't know the history of how when Black women tried to wear their hair natural in this country, that it became illegal. And so it was illegal because our hairstyles were so elaborate and men were just like fawning over our hairstyles, and the white women didn't like that. This is why a lot of you out there who believe that every white woman is your ally, and then you see after the voting numbers come out that they really weren't. White women were instrumental in your enslavement and the keeping of you enslaved and your subjugation. Instrumental. And they, after the fact, they fatten themselves and they're like, oh, I do declare I was under the white man's rule as well. I didn't know. Oh, there was nothing that could have been done. Right. But they were up there using you as their wet nurses so that their children can get that good, juicy milk with all that vitamin D in it from you. And they were using you to be their maids and servants. And now that you're not their maid and servant anymore, they don't even see you as they're passing by the street. They just try to barrel through you. They reach over your children in the stores, elbowing them. They don't step off the side, out of the way when you're walking past. They just try to knock you down. And it's like, you realize that these women, that there's a lot more going on. So it's like, we're living in this world where we are not really fully diving in, and we're going out and we're giving our opinion. And this man, and he wasn't even of the awareness that from the time that a Black girl is little, that her hair, that she's lambasted about her hair, that it has been going on for centuries. So after the natural hairstyles became illegal, Black women started wrapping their hair. And guess what? The wraps were elaborate. I mean, you know how Black people do. The wraps were elaborate and beautiful and colorful, and they were just exquisite and extraordinary. And then they had a problem with that. And so it's like we have been, how we got here is important. How much research the people that you're following, and how much research, how true is the information? How verified is the information that the people you're watching is giving you? This is why I ask people, send your links, send your sources, because a lot of people say a lot of different things. Let's continue to go forward in this video.
You're a genius. I mean, why is he having an emotional reaction? That's not a high value man thing to do. You know, if a kid walks up to me and says, you're fat, I don't throw a temper tantrum and get all mad at them. Right. And this woman did half of that, and he boots her off the call and starts swearing at her. Like, he's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous reaction. And so all I see is a guy looking at a woman who's above average looking, in my opinion. This guy's putting his own preferences onto her. Oh, you know, you're at best average looking. Okay, according to who? You're lit by a candle because you don't want people to see your face. Why am I supposed to take you seriously right now? And
I'm sorry. Isn't that what I said in my video? Didn't I say that? He's sitting there in the lurches. in a darkened room with a candle, with one little candlelight there, and he's in the shadows obscuring his signs of aging, talking about 20-year-olds are beating down his door with a stick. Listen, we were all 20. We know what we thought of a man who was 30 years older. This is grandpa age. Come on now. Let's continue.
Oh, like, come on, man. I didn't like that at all. And I don't know this guy, so I'm dragging him a little bit, but I didn't like based on what I saw in this video, I didn't like that at all. And I know tons of guys that would share the opinion that she is attractive. The fact that he is saying, oh no, by any definition, you are average at best, that is ridiculous. Whenever you paint people with a broad stroke, that it's ridiculous. When you say white people are nerds or black people steal, you're just doing that. And that's what he's doing to her. And nobody would allow us to talk like that about black people, white people. So why would she then take that as credible advice? Why would anybody take that from him as credible advice? He's painting everybody with a broad stroke. It's ridiculous. And he's putting his own preferences onto an entire audience of strangers on the internet. Do you lack the emotional intelligence to realize that different people like different things? Is that really, you don't understand?
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Different people like different things. So he's trying to say that at 35, she's too old for a man who makes six figures. So in his mind, in Kevin KittenHeels Samuel's mind, he thinks that every six-figure person or a millionaire is 25, a 25, 30-year-old man who's looking for a 25-year-old woman. No, some men who are millionaires are 60 years old. You think a 60-year-old wants a 20-year-old child? You think a person who is 40, even a well-adjusted 40-year-old, knows that him or her and a 20-year-old just mentally are not in the same space, emotionally, psychologically, just not in the same space. I mean, those of us who have grown know, we know what's on a 20-year-old. 20-year-old is listening to Megan Thee Stallion right now. Listen, a 20-year-old is just coming out of high school. Seriously, a 20-year-old is just finding their way in this world. And you think that a person who is 50, 60, who already has a child wants to be running around playing these 20-year-old South Beach games, just running up and down the place, doing what it is that you did 30 years ago. I mean, it's like there are people who are maladjusted, right? And in their maladjustment, I wanted to focus on this person's comment in a second. And in their maladjustment, they don't really know. They don't have a clear, healthy understanding of how to navigate in life. Like a person who thinks that all six-figure persons or all millionaires are child-free or don't mind a blended family. And it's like, it's a whole different world when you start looking at real life. And then so here's a person by the name of Marshawn Holmes who says, "White Jesus here again to save y'all. SMH," right? And what's the matter, Marshy? What's wrong? Are you afraid that your supply is being taken away? Are you afraid that in comparison, that when you hold both men up pound for pound, worth for worth, that Black men in this country really just don't stand a chance when put up against the white male buying and spending power? What we have is a millionaire here to school you. Why don't you, if you are a millionaire and you are here, you're going to come and quote unquote save people, why don't you schedule a broadcast so that you can come forward and give your millionaire knowledge? Like I was saying earlier, one of the great things that Crystalline did in the beginning of that video is she qualified her guest. What qualifies her guest to speak on this topic? And I don't think that we hold up enough Black men to this standard. What qualifies you, sir, to give this advice? Besides waking up one day, seeing two curly hairs on your chest, feeling your testicles swinging down low, and deciding, oh, in all my masculine glory, I am man. Now I have the dominion because I got two swinging balls. Those balls are what educate me. I mean, if you ask a man, far too many of these men are giving relationship advice that comes from their testicular sac. And they're trying to advise you on what it is that they themselves would like, on how they themselves navigate. And they don't really qualify what type of life they're even really living. But when you see the women begin to divorce them and their children running away from them and their children who don't know them and their children coming up into public and lambasting them, then you see that what's going on behind the scenes is much different than the foolishness that they're purporting in public. Let's go forward.
And that's one of many questions I would have for a guy like that.
Wow, you said a lot. You said a whole
I did say a
lot.
lot.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the next section now, where he talks about the dating habits of wealthy men. So let's scrub through real quick at 31:32, he starts talking about the dating habits of wealthy men and what wealthy men are really, really out there looking for. So let's hear from a wealthy man himself. No, this isn't white Jesus coming to save anybody. This is a teacher coming to educate. And maybe if you were about your business, Marshy, you would be on your own grind and you would either be educating or being under the tutelage. So listen, sit down in your place, son, and learn. Learn from a man who has done something that you've not been able to do. Let's do that.
Date models or whatever gets shattered. And
Okay,
we
let's
don't
scroll
even
back
really
just a
need to
little
look
bit.
inside behind the curtain.
Circle and what they would have thought of a woman like that.
Yeah, I know so many guys as I build my own business and level of socioeconomic success, whatever you want to call it. The more guys I meet, the more the idea that wealthy guys only date models or whatever gets shattered. And we don't even really need to look inside behind the curtain on, my life to see this. Like Mark Zuckerberg married Priscilla Chan, who is his Asian girlfriend from Harvard, who's a doctor. Okay. He didn't marry a Victoria's Secret cover girl, whatever. Right. And like a lot of these founders, when I meet their significant other, it's just a normal person. It's not a supermodel. It's not anything where you would go like, oh, that's what billionaires marry. That's what multimillionaires marry. Well, that makes sense. A lot of my friends, when we go to these meetups or these conferences and things like that, they bring their wives and they're completely normal people, or these wives bring their husbands. And I go, yeah, that guy just looks like every other dad. Every other scoutmaster that I had in Boy Scouts growing up looks like this guy, polo tucked in, like people really generally kind of look the same, because at a certain point and especially intelligent people who are high earners, not that those two things are always the same. Celebrities, case in point, people that are not necessarily the geniuses that earn a lot of money. And there's a lot of people that are very smart that earn average income. But the higher earners that are thinking about problems in their life and looking at things with a complicated, nuanced eye, they're looking and they're going, do I want to marry somebody that I'm going to be happy with long term? Or do I want to marry somebody and give them half my stuff that's going to be hot for 10, maybe 20 years, is obsessed with attention because they're an Instagram model or something like that? Is that the kind of person I want to be my number one person who's also going to raise my offspring? No, that is not what I want. I want a normal person who was raised like me, more or less, that has similar values. And it almost, I won't say it doesn't matter what they look like, but it kind of doesn't really make that big of a difference. A lot of my friends, their wives had a few kids and the bodies change, they're taking care of 2-3 babies. They don't have time to go to the gym for 3 hours a day, every day. They can't do their career anymore because they're raising kids. They don't go, ugh. When we talk in these mastermind groups where we're very sharing private stuff, nobody says, oh man, I'm not really attracted to my wife anymore. They say things like, we don't have time to have sex anymore. They don't say, I'm looking for a Victoria's Secret chick from Instagram. Those are not what wealthy guys are generally looking for. It's something that we see in media, and it's something we see in Hollywood. We see like Harvey Weinstein types and directors going after young starlets, but that is not what normal high earning men do. And when I was a lawyer, every single person around me who didn't work in like the HR department of the law firm made multiple six figures. Every single attorney, there were paralegals there making close to six figures. These are high earning folks, right? Every single person that I came in contact with at that law firm made good money. None of those guys were looking for models that had, you know, these types of physical characteristics. And we were in our early 30s. We were looking for normal women that we could trust. That was really the prime thing.
Exactly. You heard that? They were looking for normal women that they could trust. And so this is the thing, because the difference between a person who has a lot of money and a person who don't is just that the person who has a lot of money has a lot of money. You're still a person. You're still whoever it is that went to PS whatever elementary school. You're still whoever who grew up on whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're still a person. You're still all of those things that created who it is that you are. But it's just like many people who are on these fasts, where they fast and abstain from a thing that they have no access to, or it's even worse if you fast and you have no access to that of what it is that you want. So you've been relegated away from this thing. The moment that you have access to it, you just go ham. You go crazy. You binge out. And so it's like conquered men who have had no access to money. Then all of a sudden they get two little nickels to rub together. And when they get those two nickels to rub together, what do? They start wilding out and they're like, oh, I'm going to turn into this thing, this caricature, and fit into these stereotypes that you see in rap videos, soap operas, and reality TV. And then you mimic because you don't really know. And so this man, KittenHeels, he's pantomiming what he thinks a wealthy man is like. And he's purporting these falsehoods, these narratives, and these stereotypes that just aren't true. We're going to jump forward into a part of the video where he gives his point of view about how he feels about a Black person speaking about other Black people like this, and how people listening to this stuff. So let's take a listen. That starts at 35:15. So we'll start just a little bit before there.
And this guy's saying you're trash because you have a son who's a teenager. I mean, she doesn't have two babies by two random guys that she can't find that are 2 years old that she needs to take care of and is on welfare or something like that. Like this sort of stereotype that this guy seems to be propagating about people of his own ethnicity, which is super unhealthy. But we'll get there in a second. She's got a teenage son. Like, you can date somebody like that. That kid can stay home alone and order a pizza and play Xbox, and you can go out on a date and you can come back and he can talk to you like a normal person.
Yeah.
You know, she's not pinned down with this guy. So that made me feel even more kind of cringy and sad for this situation, because there are a lot of people that are divorced and there are a lot of people that have kids, and those people are not to be disposed of. There's a lot of guys I know that are divorced and have kids, and they're like, oh man, I got to go date again. Who am I going to date? And the answer is people like that who own a successful business and have a kid of them.
See, didn't I just tell you this? I just told you this. Every person who is wealthy is not some 29-year-old man living at the prime of his young life in LA, in Tinseltown. Oh, I forgot I had my antlers on. Attempting to be out on the prowl. Some people are divorced themselves. There are many different, it's like men with money are not a monolith. There are attractive men with money. There are unattractive men with money. There are overweight men with money. There are underweight men with money. There are muscular men with money. There are disabled men with money. There are divorced men with money. There are young men with money. There are older men with money. There are superficial men with money. There are mean men with money. There are nice men with money. There are honorable men with money. It's like money really only amplifies what already exists. So it's like, let's wisen up. But you see, it's like people have a vested interest in trying to believe these narratives because it helps keep them having unfettered access to your womb.
Their own, that understand that getting divorced happens and you still have kids, and it doesn't mean that that you are now trash or that you are now off the market. And I think it's especially rich coming from a guy who's been divorced twice and is in his 50s.
Hold on, I want to get to that. I think we passed the part. Well, he was talking about people of his own ethnicity. I'm sorry, that came at 35:35. Did we? I just want to rewind that because I want to make sure that we hear that, where he talks about how this man is talking about people of his own ethnicity and how low down that is. Listen.
A veterinary
six-figure pet grooming business.
So she's obviously pretty smart. She's a hustler. She's intelligent and she's attractive. And this guy's saying you're trash because you have a son who's a teenager. I mean, she doesn't have 2 babies by 2 random guys that she can't find that are 2 years old that she needs to take care of and is on welfare or something like that. Like this sort of stereotype that this guy seems to be propagating about people of his own ethnicity, which is super
Yeah, you see that? Super unhealthy, he says.
But
yes.
we'll get there in a
Yeah. So it's like, come on. It's like other people of other races are seeing you, Black men. They're seeing how you're behaving, and it's not respectable behavior. Other men are not inspired to respect you when they see that you are disrespecting women, that you are lambasting and attempting to make women downtrodden and trying to trample on them beneath your feet. Let's go forward. Let's jump now to 3640, where he talks about how this man is projecting. There we go.
and that she needs to learn that, her place. I'm like, bro, project much?
All
this
right.
is your shit.
Yeah. So he's talking about how this man is projecting his own
or that
insecurities
you are
onto
now
her.
off the market. And I think it's especially rich coming from a guy who's been divorced twice and is in his 50s to tell somebody else who's been, has 1 kid that they can't date anymore. And that he's beating young women off with a stick and that she needs to learn that, her place. I'm like, bro, project much? This is your shit you're dealing with.
All right. So you hear that for yourself. All right, let's scrub forward and see. We're almost at the end of it. We have 3 more parts that I want you to see, where he talks about the meanness of it. And then there was somebody who said that this guy is a pickup artist. He's going to address that at 3809, and then we're going to get there, and then I'm going to take your comments, and then we're going to because what ends up happening is there are a lot of men who attempt to get into this dating relationship world. And far too many men don't really want to hear healthy dating advice. They want to hear how to quote unquote bang a bunch of hot chicks in one night without committing anything. And a lot of the dating advice, so like you see women are trying to learn how to be in healthy relationships, trying to learn how to be good women, how to show up for their men, how to be what men like, how to keep a man. But men are teaching each other how to discard you, how to dispose of you, how you're not really worthy of commitment, and how he's a fool if he gives you commitment. And so a lot of the dating advice that men receive is toxic dating advice. And he addresses how he first came out giving dating advice, and then the field became overrun with pickup artists. So we're going to get to that. But first, we're going to look into the part of the video where he addresses this guy's just nastiness towards women. Let's see, that's at 36. Let's see, here it is. Let's go.
The shade.
I'm mad about it because I think it's mean, and he's doing it to make himself feel better, and because he's placating to the audience. He knows that 90% of the guys that are watching that are like 18 years old and insecure, so that makes them feel good. Like, oh, if he's putting her in her place, that means I can get a woman like that. That's what they are thinking. They're not thinking, yeah, she's trash. The other part of the audience is like this sort of incel guy who could never in a million years get a woman that looks like that. and they like watching her get taken down a peg by a guy that they think is a badass
Listen.
they admire. That's it. This is like, it's like a jealousy thing or like an envy thing. They want to feel like they're elevating themselves by taking someone down a peg. If he really wanted to help her, he wouldn't have given her advice like that.
Listen.
He would have actually done something to help her. He would not have taken it down that road. He did that to make his audience feel powerful. That had nothing to do with her. Had everything to do with him, had everything to do with the audience.
And you have a special knowledge of this. You know what you're talking about because you kind of were in that space and saw where it was going.
Listen.
So let's dive into the mind of men like this because you know them intimately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I used to be in the space that was like the dating coach space that turned into the pickup artist space, and it's cringy. And there are a lot of guys there that really did want to help other guys, myself included. And I would say even the majority of some of the guys who got into the pickup artist thing were really like, I just want to get the clients we saw in my old company and that I still have emailing me at the Jordan Harbinger show. They're like, I want to meet a quality woman and get married and have kids, and I'm shy. Or I don't know if I can do it because I've never been good with women, whatever that means. Usually it just means like they're too afraid to start a conversation and they're an engineer and it's not their specialty to be outgoing and charismatic. Okay, it's forgivable. Very few, and I would say like 20%, maybe that's not very few, 10 to 20% turn out like this guy, where they're like, the best thing to do is just get really angry at people and show my anger and my traumatic emotional wounds by taking it out on women. That's why you see these quote unquote methods where these guys are like, yeah, you just walk up and you're like, girl, I want to fuck you. You've seen those methods, right? From those guys that are like these self-published books and it's like 4 steps to like getting laid every night. It's like, go out and just tell everything that will listen to you for 5 seconds that you want to bang. And I'm like, these guys are just damaged. They're not really trying to build relationships with women. And so a lot of the guys that are watching videos like that, who are young and impressionable, that's what's really a shame, because they start to think, oh, maybe it's rare to have a relationship like my parents if they had a good relationship. And if they didn't, you go, well, that figures. No wonder my parents split up, because all women want are this, 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 and this. And that's whatever this dude on World Star was talking about. They don't have good models of relationships. And so a lot of guys who are in the dating thing and struggling and trying to figure this out and Googling stuff like this and finding crap like that, they are being led astray by guys like that because that guy never figured it out, obviously, given his past and current relationship history, track record. So their model of relationships is now guided by that. And that's what's really a shame, because, that poor girl, I said to you, I texted, I said, that poor girl, she doesn't deserve this. But that really, upon reflection, was not about her at all.
Listen,
anybody could have called.
I need you to hear this.
Same or similar question, he would have reacted the same way. The advice was not tailored to her at all, from what I saw. It had everything to do with making the audience feel like, yeah, look at him, tell her what's up and make her feel bad. That's what they wanted to see. They wanted to see her feel bad. They didn't want to see her get any help. That's just bullshit. That was the lie that they're telling themselves when they run that show.
Right.
You see that, right? You see what I'm saying? It was never about her. It was about them and the anger and frustration that they feel from rejections from when they were in the 6th grade. This is what I'm saying. Somebody commented when I said that all men need to do is lift up, squeeze their 2 sacks together, and then think, oh, I have all of the knowledge. But it's like a man thinks that just by the mere virtue of him being a man, that women are supposed to fall all over him. And when they don't, they're angry at the women because they're like, you should have been with me. And because you didn't give me a chance when I was 12, now I'm angry. And it's like, nobody has to give you a chance. Go out there and find a person who is right for you. You're not for everybody. And so let's see, there are a few more parts. So let's see. Actually, okay. I think I'm just going to play just a few more parts for you all, because you got the general gist of the video where he talks about, does a good guy behave like Kevin? And he talks about what this girl may need therapy with. So I want you all to hear that. That's coming up at 41:56. Let me cue that up for you all. All right, here we go.
Any details on that? Does that sound like it was a healthy relationship? Does that sound like a good guy who abandons a baby kid?
All right, so he talks about here.
Men like this to
Yeah, it's a
humiliate.
self-esteem issue. Guaranteed she had a bad relationship with one parent, probably the father, possibly abusive in the past, possibly dealt with an abusive ex. I don't know what you said she has a father of her son that she doesn't see or something like that. I didn't get any details on that. Does that sound like it was a healthy relationship? Does that sound like a good guy who abandons a baby kid, a boy, and says, let your mom raise you because I don't give a shit? No. So that's the type of man that she is used to being around. So he was right about one thing. She probably does need therapy because she needs to look and find the pattern that would even suggest that looking to a guy like that for advice was a good idea.
You hear
and
this?
Every woman that thinks about calling into that show, I would say the same thing. You need to figure out why you think a guy like that is somebody you should be listening to. You know, like if you said, Jordan, you need to get advice from somebody, I would never go to that, what's her name, like the millionaire matchmaker who was like, you're a slob, you need to get your shit together, you're acting like a mama's boy loser.
All right, so we're gonna jump forward again, and we're going to get to the part where he starts talking about dress size and how does dress size make a person a better mate or not. All right, so that's going to be at 50:35. All right, so let's just take it to 50 and then play from there. All right, there we go.
250 grand last year cutting Chihuahua hair. You know, like they're going to be all right with it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a way to make sure that people fit into your life. So I would say, like, to get into the line of sight, it's about who you know, which is networking, and it's not an impossible code to crack. I mean, a lot of my friends meet women, of course, on apps all the time. My brother-in-law, who's single and is an engineer, he meets women on apps all the time, you know, that are like hairstylists, and he's not like, well, she's a hairstylist. He's like, yeah, she's cool and cute and fun, and we have a good time, and she's smart. You know, like that's what people are looking for. I think there's a lot of overthinking about how you're not good enough. Like when that guy said, what dress size are you? She's like size 3. First of all, you can tell that she's not morbidly obese by just looking at that section of the video. So what does it matter if she says size 5 or I don't even know dress sizes, first of all. But I had to ask you about this. People are not thinking that hard about this, but I think people who are insecure about it, right? Like that woman, she is very much concerned with that. And I think people are concerned about the wrong things, right? Like if you're taking a class on Italian cooking because you like to cook, you're going to meet people there that are interested in that same thing. They're not going to go, yeah, but where did you get your degree? And are you a size 3? Like people are not thinking about all of these minutia, right? They're just not. It's like I said, the attraction thing is a binary switch. You know, and once you get into friend circles that have one or more high earners, you are now in that social circle. Everyone you meet is going to be in that social circle. I don't even know if I have that many friends that don't earn multiple 6 figures or 7 figures. And it's not because I'm like, wait, does that guy make money? Okay, cool. He can come over. It's just because through association, that's who I meet.
And you know what? And I'm happy he said this. I just wanted to speak on that really quickly because after Crystalline did this video, I started looking through I wanted to bring someone forward to speak with you all so that you all can get a sense of what real life men who make over 6 figures or who are millionaires really think about this. But when I was scrolling through my own list of contacts, most of them are not public people. Well, none of them are public people. They're just private people. So they didn't want to talk about what they're doing and speak on this on public, you know, especially since YouTube is so big, etc. And I realized that in my own circle of friends, that you don't qualify whether a person can be your friend or not based on how much money they have. You're not like, oh, yeah, you can have my number because you're making 6 figures. No, it's like you meet people, you have things in common, you talk, you vibe well, and you don't think about how much money it is that they have. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's really about the person. And if you are qualifying people, and whether or not they can be your friend or be in your life or have capacity for you to treat them a certain way because of what it is that they have, how it is that they look, what it is that they can do for you, then those are issues that you have. Honestly, those are issues that you have. So let's jump down. Oh, I want you to hear how he talks about that is not a real definition. That's not a real look of how real high value people behave. Let's go forward. That is going to be it's going to be in 1 more minute. So we could just play this out.
But I also realized that a lot of my friends, they'll bring a girl over and I'll go, oh, nice to meet you. You know, maybe younger friends. And I'll go, what do you do? And she'll go, oh, I'm a student at Stanford. And I go, oh, okay. You're earning negative $120,000.
Right.
No, but you're negative money. None of us are going, ugh, she's got student loans. You know, there's potential earnings there. And now this person's a PhD. There's also people that are hairstylists. And we're not thinking, oh, she's the hairstylist. Don't say anything complicated around her. She's not going to be here for long. Nobody is thinking about this. Nobody. So you really do need to put yourself in those circles, and you will meet the type of people that you think you're entitled to meet. Now, the problem is, I guarantee you that a lot of these women are on these sort of like dating apps where they meet guys like that, lit by a candle, wearing a suit. And they're like, this is how I signal high value. I wear expensive looking things. Look, I've got a wooden deck.
Listen, I need you all to hear this again. I need you to hear this again. I'm going to rewind that, because when you start navigating through the circles, you realize that the people who are moving and shaking, they walk among us. Like, there are really small, fine things that you can do to really tell who has money and who doesn't have money. And Chris, maybe we can talk about that, because I remember when I worked at the Gold Club in Atlanta when I was right out of college. It had always been a dream of mine to work at a high-end gentleman's club, right? And when I was there, they would give us lessons on how to peep who really has money, because there are people who come through. Like, if a person doesn't have a jersey on, you don't know if they're a ball player. You know what I mean? If a person doesn't have their attaché case and you know, and their business cards handing out, you don't know whether or not they're a high-powered attorney. But there are things that you can look for. And whether or not a person has on some Men's Warehouse suit, you know, whether or not a person went down to off the rack at what is that off the rack? Is it after Fifth Avenue? What is the name of that store? the outlet one. Because a person is able to get a suit and get some needle and thread and pull it in on the sides while they stand there with their man purse draped across their décolleté. You know, it's like, come on, it takes more than just that. It's like he's giving out these faux outward signs of what wealth looks like. And so people, they notice, they see that as the uniform of the wealthy. But the wealthy who put on this uniform, they put on this uniform for business meetings or other things where there are people who are going to be looking at the uniform. You know what I'm saying? I need you all to hear that again. Do you know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, go ahead and put up your number 4. Throw those 4s up if you know what I'm saying, while I cue back up that part of the video where he's talking about the faux cues of high value. Let's just listen to that again.
Maybe younger friends. And I'll go, what do you do? And she'll go, oh, I'm a student at Stanford. And I go, oh, okay. You're earning negative $120,000.
Right.
No, but you're negative money. None of us are going, ugh, she's got student loans. You know, there's potential earnings there. And now this person's a PhD. There's also people that are hairstylists. And we're not thinking, oh, she's the hairstylist. Don't say anything complicated around her. She's not going to be here for long. Nobody is thinking about this. Nobody. So you really do need to put yourself in those circles, and you will meet the type of people that you think you're entitled to meet. Now, the problem is, I guarantee you that a lot of these women are on these sort of like dating apps where they meet guys like that, lit by a candle, wearing a suit, and they're like, "This is how I signal high value. I wear expensive looking things. Look, I've got a wooden desk. I'm wealthy." They're like cartoon character high value men, where they're not really high value men, right? They're like when people think of a rich guy, they think like, "Oh, he's got to dress in suits and wear real power ties." That's not. I live in Silicon Valley. Rich guys wear like rabbit fur hoodies and ripped jeans and like Dockers and shit. You know, like that. They're not walking around in suits. And even when I worked on Wall Street, the guys that wore suits, we were like, "Oh, he's got a client meeting today." I didn't even go to work in a suit. I didn't even go to work in a tie. And I worked at a freaking white shoe law firm on Wall Street. It's a myth. And so people look at these myths and they see these signals and they're the wrong signals. They're fake. It's fantasy land.
Jordan, you've broken a record. We have 1,850.
Yeah, so you know what? Listen, this is I love this broadcast so much because there's so many jewels in there. We're going to jump forward into this part I really want you to hear. Where Jordan, and this will be the last one, and then I'm going to see if Pink Pill wants to come on after and just give us an update on how Black women have been responding to this, how Black men have been responding, how have white people responded, both male and female, to this particular video. I want to hear your thoughts on that. So Chris, let me know if you want to come on. If not, then let me know that too, and we'll just continue going forward, because I know when I saw somebody reviewing my video, I was like, I gotta add something right now, I gotta add. So I was like, so it was a whole different story, but let me know. So I want you all to hear this part where he talks about his wife and where his life would be in terms of earning if he wasn't with his particular wife and the value that she brings in. So let's go to that part.
Guides all of the forecasting for the company. So she does financial models and stuff like that. But she and of course she runs the household, and we got a baby. So she's helping raise him. So she has more work than me, or as much work as I do. And she's definitely like a business partner inside the business. And of course she, runs the household too. And we're building a house. So she's managing that project. So the idea, like, I can't imagine anybody actually wanting like you said, a pretty little doll that doesn't do anything. Cause I'm like, first of all, I'd be earning much less money without her. So that would be a huge problem. I wouldn't be able to manage anything like I am without her. Like she's literally responsible for the success that we have. To have somebody who just sits around all day or like goes to the gym for 5 hours and then gets nails done and looks good, I can't imagine a bigger waste of oxygen in my house. And I don't know any guy that isn't like a Hollywood type of guy. I don't know any guy who's successful that just wants a wife who's a trophy. That they're the guys that I'm looking for are like, no, she's working full time, I'm working full time, and they're like, oh, we're struggling to figure out which one of us is going to stay home if we have a kid. It's probably going to be her in the beginning, but then she's earning more than me. That's what guys are thinking about. They're not like, oh, I want somebody who's 10 years younger than my current model. Like, that's ridiculous. And that's, again, a cartoon character of a wealthy person. Maybe.
Okay, and you know what? We're going to stop right there. And I'm going to encourage all of you to go over to the Pink Pills channel and watch the whole video. There's so many nuggets in there, and she gives the background on their relationship, what qualifies him to speak on this. And it's a great video. It goes by really quickly when you just dive right into it. So I'm going to pull up some of your comments and see what you all have to say. I was trying to put up some of the comments during the broadcast, right? Oh, Sin is saying we wouldn't need a high value white man telling us the truth if it weren't for a low value Black man feeding us lies. Can everybody give a round of applause for that? Because if that ain't the truth, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what is if that ain't the truth right there. So Kika is saying in the 80s, that was the case when it came to wealth. It has changed. It's Skechers, shoes, Rolex watches, and Range Rover. Listen, Amber saying kitten heels is hood rich with which ain't real wealth. Look, it's deep out there. It's deep. So listen, there are a few different videos that have come out. I'm going to play a little bit of a video for you all, which was on the Young Turks a few years ago, where they talked about wealthy men and what wealthy men are looking for. So I just wanted to just come on the tail end of this and just play that for you. And this was sent to me by a person by the name of Ori. So thank you, Ori, for sending this to me so that I could share this with other people. Go ahead and like the video. We have 1,200 people on the broadcast right now. So go ahead and give those thumbs up. Share this video with anybody that you feel needs to see it. Make sure that you give your props and your clicks to Crystalline from the Pink Pill. Throw those pinkies up and tap them on the keyboard to hit the like button. Watch her video and just keep the knowledge rolling, because there's still some people in here. There's still some people in here who are trying to lambast this man for coming and giving us knowledge. So here, let me find this video for you all real quick, and then let's go from there. I just need to queue it up because I have that other video in the queue. Give me 1 second. I just need to get into the right area. And remember, this is the live channel. If you watch the video after it's been edited, all of these mistakes and lags and stuff like that are cut out. So don't worry about that. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to pull up the link. All right, here we go. Give me 1 second. Oh, I hate when I ask someone to email me somewhere and they email me someplace else, and then I can't find the email because it's not in the right spot. So they email me on an address I didn't tell them to email me on. So give me 1 second. All right, here we go. All right, I just found it. Perfect. All right, so we're just going to scrub through this video. Let me add it to the stream. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go.
MillionaireMatch.com is a website for millionaires that are looking to date. I had not.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
And let me be clear, I'm not really that excited about dating a millionaire. I'm an independent woman. I'm making my own money, right? Women like me who are interested in 15,000 people that are dating. Now, they did a survey of 15,000 people that are dating on their site, which is also kind of incredible.
That there's 15,000 millionaires on this site.
There probably aren't 15,000 millionaires on the site. I think there are a bunch of women like me who are interested in dating a millionaire.
Oh, that's true, too. Or it's guys whose profile pictures them flashing like 10 $5 bills. Baby, I got money.
And let me be clear, I'm not really that excited about dating a millionaire.
These guys are like, I've spent like 2 decades building up this wealth. Whatevs.
80 share their wealth with a woman. They like the idea of taking care of a woman.
Here, so this is the part. This is the part right here.
And the vast majority of them said no. 79.6% say that they look for non-millionaire women because they.
Here, so this is the part. Sorry, I had to cure it up. Look.
are
All right.
just insane. So let me tell you. First of all, they asked the millionaire men whether they would like to date another millionaire woman. And the vast majority of them said no. 79.6% say that they look for non-millionaire women because they want to share their wealth with a woman. They like the idea of taking care of a woman. However, when you go to female millionaires, that just kind of flips. 84.5% would prefer to date another millionaire. And the reason for that is because the female millionaires are a little more protective of their money. They're also more likely to demand that their significant other signs a prenup prior to marriage, whereas the men are just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's 17%, which is very low.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the part that I just wanted you all to see. That's it. That women who make more money are more interested in being with men who have money. Men who have money don't really consider a woman's money to determine whether or not that's somebody that they want to be with. This is something that's important to women, and it actually helps the relationship be better because for many different reasons. Because as a woman, when you know that you're able to be taken care of, it allows you to be able to rest in your femininity and to let your femininity grow and soar. So we're going to pull Crystalline up on the line right now. She's going to add some things. The comments have been going so quickly that I haven't been able to keep up with all of them. Crystalline, I sent you a link in your email that you can use to dial into the show. So click on that link. It should let me know that you are ready to come in, and then we'll go from there. So if you all can, let me see. So I'm looking at my email right now. So yeah, so I want to hear your comments about this particular video. I want to hear why. One of the things that I'm really confused about that I would love for Crystalline to come in and give her point of view on is why are there so many Black women who are against what it is that Jordan was saying? Why do we self-sabotage in this way? I can understand why Black men are angry because they're like, oh, my supply of big Black booty is going to be taken away from me. Big Black non-committal booty that I could just poke in and out of at my leisure. But why are Black women against a non-Black man who is married and has children and who is showing up in his wife's life? Why are they upset about taking compliments, upliftment, the knowledge from him? I'm confused by that. So let's take a look. This is my first time having a guest. Okay. I'll send it again. I'll send it again. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, everyone. I'm sorry. I just need to cut and paste this thing. I copy URL, and then I'm going to reply and send the link right there. All right. So I just sent it. So check your email, Crystalline, and then click through from there. So this is also my first time having a guest on since I've been using this new software. So it may be a little bit clunky getting this together, but like I said, in the edited version, all of the clunks are cut out. All right. So wait a minute. Ari is saying, which Black women are upset? Because I'll personally fight them. Lord have mercy. What is going on in these streets? All right. So here's Crystalline now. All right.
Hi, Tanya.
Hey.
I apologize. I don't have a picture to show. I was like, I guess I have to go through StreamYard to upload a picture. But thank you. First of all, I just want to say, Tanya, thank you so much for being such a positive influence and purveyor of knowledge for Black women.
Oh,
And
thank you.
you ooze positivity, and I just absolutely love how when you are confronted with people who have negative things to say, you turn it around to being just a lighthearted, funny thing, and you show to the world what you believe you are worth. And I think that that is an excellent, excellent way of dealing with people who do that. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you want, I mean, I have some commentary, but I want to, I'm not sure how you want, if you want me to just start free flowing, or if you want me to.
Well, you know what? You can say what's top of mind, because I know that you have a greater awareness of what are some of the things that came up for you after that video came out. So there are things that I want to know, but start it off and then I can ask you my questions after or in between.
Okay. So in regards to the Jordan Harbinger video and some of the negative responses that in particular Black women had, I had to do some personal introspection, because here is a man who I know, who is my friend, who I've known for the better, probably a decade. I know this man's work ethic. I know his intelligence. This is a friend of mine, and I'm presenting him as someone who I've spoken to personally, who is completely outraged and angry that Black women feel that this is something that they should accept, and are in some cases outright rejecting or projecting certain microaggressions and racism from what he has to say, when in truth, he was truly angered on our behalf, and not really looking at, this is a man who is a friend who I can just send him a text and say, Jordan, and he will reply immediately and say, what's wrong? What's going on? Are you okay? Which is exactly what he did. Somebody who I can call and say, I'm in some confusion or distress, and he's right there to address it. Isn't that what masculine men do?
You know, you're doggone right about that. Yes. Yes. So he never asked you, how's your hair looking today, to see if he could help you?
No, nope. He did not. He did not. He just saw that. And one of the things that I really like about him is that he always follows up. He always answers. He always follows through, and he does what he says that he's going to do. And that is a marker of a man, regardless of their income bracket, is their ability to keep their word and to have principles. And so I was confused about it, but then I started to do some investigating, and there is a psychological phenomenon.
Oh yes, I saw that when you were speaking with Brooklyn Blue. She's Kendall St. Charles now. Yes.
Yes, and the concept is self-verification. So for those of you guys who are not familiar with self-verification is a process in which you seek out messages, communications, people who confirm what you already believe about yourself. So when you think about the messages that are given to us, whether through the media, through our communities, our families, just the proximity of what we deal with on a daily basis, issues related to race and gender, there's a lot of messages that Black women get that are negative, that we internalize, and it starts really, really early.
Yes.
And so when you hear a message from someone that confirms a belief that you believe about yourself, you're more open to it. And so when you have a contrary message of someone saying, no, this isn't right. You do deserve this. You aren't that. You're
Yes.
not worthless. You're not average at best. There is a different way. And if it's too contrary to what your core values and beliefs are
Yes.
about yourself, it is not accepted. And that is the fight that we're in right now, is that so many Black women really don't believe that they're worth it, and that they are more willing to hear abusive messages. And it's not that the messages make them feel good. Okay, so I need to be clear, when it's about
Right.
self-verification, it doesn't make you feel good. We're not masochists. We feel bad when we hear these messages, but they are familiar to us.
Mm-hmm.
It is a communication delivery mode that we are used to, encountering. And so
Yes.
it makes sense. And when you think about relationships, take that to relationships. Think about the men who you date. Are you dating men that you think you deserve because it's comfortable for you? And for men who don't confirm what you believe about yourself, are you not attracted to that because you think they're fake, or you think they're boring, or you think that that's not real love? So there's a conditioning that goes on, as
Yeah.
the reason why many Black women, and this was the thing that was really disheartening for me, because once I delved into self-verification
Mm-hmm.
and realizing that this stuff starts so early, I got so disheartened, because by the time they get to us, Tanya, there's
Mm-hmm.
been so much damage and unlearning that needs to happen.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll say this, and I'm so glad that you stated all of that. There are a few different things that I'd love to add to that.
Sure.
So we as human beings, we as women, we're powerful, powerful beings. And love to
Mhm.
add to that. Hold on. Is that
Yeah,
you?
I just put up another window so I could see the chat, and I had to mute it. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Lucky you, because my chat is not scrolling anymore. The chat is frozen, so I don't even know
Uh-oh.
how to get it unfrozen. But that's fine. Are the people saying that they can hear both of us? Because I can't see.
Yeah, I think people, can you guys hear? I'm looking at the chat. So if you can hear, yes, they can hear. They can hear, Tanya.
Okay, wonderful. I just can't see any of the new comments, so forgive me. There's some sort of this. I guess the system is still new. There's some sort of lag that has weighed it down once you came on. I cannot see any more of the new comments. So I'll probably pull up my phone in a little while to look at the. Oh wow! Now the comments have, and now they're scrolling through quickly, coming through. They must, because I pressed the button that said having issues, and now all of a sudden it's working. All right, so what I was going to add to that is we're powerful beings, and we are goddess incarnate, right? And there's a part of us that deep down knows that what it is that we've been taught is a lie. And there's conflict that exists. So when we think about self-verification from a human standpoint, there can be a human part of you that wants to get that verification for the limitations, the limiting beliefs that you've had as a human. But there are parts of you that are far beyond those limitations. You know, all of your energy is not in your human body, and we have guides, guardian angels, and our higher selves, which are assisting us here. And there are parts of us that are not, that wake up, that are not fully asleep. And so there is help and there is hope. And you know, I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. So I know that there are ways to shift and rewrite the subconscious programming, because you're right. The lives that we're living now are a result of what we feel we deserve, what we think is possible, what the subconscious mind deems to be true. But you can shift that. You can absolutely shift that, but you have to be willing.
Yes. And that's the thing. When we seek out these confirming verifications, when they're negative, because perhaps we have so low self-esteem, or we just have limited information, it does make us feel bad. But there is a part, that conscious self, that does seek for more positive, and we want those things, but we are warring with what is conscious, which is what we want as self-enhancement. And Tanya, what you're talking about is self-enhancement versus the self-verification of the unconscious. So it's really a war between the two parts of yourselves, the intellectual part and then the emotional, that little girl who was told that she was too ugly, that she was too this, or she was too black, or she was too, whatever, warring against each other. And it is a fight to overcome those conflicting views of ourselves.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think so. I want to give a congratulations to all of the women who watch our channels, who seek out content and support the content which supports you, because it's important. At the end of the day, you're the only person who can go through your journey. And so it's important that you listen to that inner calling, and you'll see, because things will start showing up on your news feed. And when you've healed that part, things will begin to shift for you. Because and it's like I was watching this movie. I forget the movie, but it was pretty much about I forget the name of the movie, but it was a movie about these parents that were going to adopt some foster kids, or who were going to foster some children. And they were saying, and so the psychologist, or the sociologist, the social worker, my bad, the social worker inside of this movie was saying, well, if you can imagine, if you've been through foster home after foster home, that if you don't really think that you'll have a forever home, before your foster parents reject you, you may do things to get rejected, so that way you don't have to feel the brunt end of the rejection. So you could be like, oh, at least I'm in control of my rejection.
Yes.
So a lot of foster kids act out, etc. So if there are Black women who feel, okay, I'm never going to get in millionaire circles, I'm never going to get a 6-figure man, I'm never really going to rub elbows in that way, because there are two different things that could happen, right? There are people who could say, oh, look, Pinky knows millionaires. Pinky has millionaires in her circle. Let me see how I can get into that circle, or into a mastermind group. Or I saw that you and Kendall St. Charles are doing a course together. How can I learn? How can I rub elbows with these people? How can I get into personal contact? But if you feel that there's no way possible, how do you behave? Do you reject it? Do you say, oh, well, this is outside of my scope, it's never going to happen? Do you attack it? Or do you sit there? I mean, how many of us have felt so disappointed? I remember when I was a girl, and my dad said he was going to come to one of my performances at school. And I remember I got out there on the stage, and I looked for my dad in the audience, and I was crushed when he was not there. Something happened at work, he couldn't make it, but as in the little girl part of me was crushed, right? And and so he ended up coming to other ones of my performances. And my father, when I was young, he worked as a construction worker. He's Caribbean, so a lot of Caribbean people came here and did the jobs that they could do. So he worked as a construction worker, and he would come to some of my performances with his plaster of Paris on his clothes, sometimes the paint on his coveralls and stuff. And I was like, I don't care, this is my daddy, look at my daddy's here. And I was just so happy to have him there, because I know what it felt like to not have him there. So paint, clothes on and all, I was happy. And so, but what happens to a Black girl? Disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, being let down after being let down. What about those kids whose father said, oh, I'm coming to pick you up this weekend, and they don't come? Or when you're in a multi-child household, and the father for the other siblings comes and picks them up, and they leave you on the porch, and your father never comes. What happens to what you think is possible? So I can understand why there are many people who have been hurt who reject the information. How have Black men responded?
Mostly they've responded with Black women just can't handle the truth. And what's interesting is, and somebody in your chat said the same thing. And the fact, there's and I just recently did a video on logical fallacies and what we believe. What is the truth? And so I asked him, I don't know if he answered because the chat was going by so fast. I asked him, well, what is the truth? What do you think the truth is? And the fact of the matter is that they're using one person who right now is using a fallacy of authority and speak for all people who are in the bracket that he claims to be in. And quite frankly, most of the men who are listening to him do not float in these circles. And so again, the same thing applies to the men that it does the Black women. Like, we're not in some separate ecosystem from Black men. These are our brothers, these are our neighbors, these are the people we went to school with, and they also have a limited view of what wealth looks like, what success looks like. A lot of them are getting their cues off of television, reality TV, and I have been saying this over and over again, that what Black people tend to associate flashiness with wealth. And, they look at how the person dresses, what car they're driving, what their house looks like. And and these are very shallow things. So what success looks like to somebody who is extremely image conscious is and if you have a group of people who think that the markers of wealth by surface level actually is the definition of wealth, then anybody can come onto YouTube with a suit and say that I'm living this life, and because they have those markers, we believe them. But we are not looking deeper than what's in the surface. A quick Google search would confirm what you, Tanya, and many of us already know about this Pied Piper of all things high value man.
Stop it. Hold on. What? The Pied Piper? Girl.
And I'm sitting here listening to the arbiter of all things high value, and I'm looking around in my network. I'm looking around with the men that I know and the women that I know who are wives, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, we truly live in a parallel universe. We don't we truly don't exist on the same plane. And so I think that what we women need to do is to start looking and listening with a critical eye about who's feeding us these messages. And it's really important and crucial to our self-esteem, to our self-love, crucial really to our entire lives, because the choices that we make are predicated on what we think we deserve, and therefore impacts our entire lives. It is just that important. And what you see here, and this is what I was saying in one of my videos, what you see here is that there has been this phenomenon in the last year or so, couple years, of Black women leveling up, discovering hypergamy, discovering that, hey, I deserve more. I think that I need to start looking for more higher caliber men. And we have this fledgling sort of self-worth happening. We're saying, well, I am worth this. And we're seeking. We're seeking out places where we can develop the skills and the tips and tricks on how to get there. And there's this huge this huge movement in that regard. And there's an energy that's happening. And what we're seeing is an opposite energy that is coming to then create the mean.
Yes.
Create the mean, get things back to normal and what is comfortable. And so now you have so you have so many women saying they want a high value man. Then somebody can come and say, well, I am the high value man, and come to me so I can tell you if you're worthy. So all of these women who start feeling good about themselves are going to the arbiter of all things high value, who has become the authority on it, and asking them and asking him if they qualify. And the majority of the time he says no.
Right.
He says no. He's not encouraging. He doesn't. And so what he does is he's actually a feeder for who his true male audience is, which are men who are not of that caliber, knocking them down a peg and saying, you can't get me, so you need to settle for the majority of the men who follow me, which aren't even close. And so you have this counter energy trying to correct and get to the mean of what's in the middle and what's comfortable and what has been the common expectations of what Black women pursue and what they should expect and what they think of themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it is even a little bit more nefarious than that as well, because I think that there's a lashing out, a getting back at these bitchs who did us wrong, and let's put them in their place beneath our feet. Because you know what? I'm sorry. The just masculinity is a beautiful thing. When it veers into the toxic, it becomes violent and it becomes degrading.
Absolutely.
And when we allow men to control the dating process, it can get skewed out of control depending on the caliber of the men who are skewing the dating process. And then we have things like these memes that come up with the woman who is down there by his feet with the meal tilted up to him, because he doesn't have any power or any dominance anywhere else, so he wants to dominate her. Or he wants to if we skew this, and this is something I haven't been able to say in a video because it just has not been able to come up. If we allow the toxic male purview to skew dating, we'll have men who, because now they're saying, oh, 20, if you're over 25, then they're like, oh, if you're over 20, you see where it's inching. I've even heard men say, oh, 16 is the best time to get them.
Oh my God.
I've heard it. And then they're like, oh, well, you got to catch them before that Menzies comes in. And it's like, and if you allow the toxic portion of masculinity to skew the mating process, we'll have child brides here in the United States. Because if a person is too old at 25, where are we really taking this now? And it's like the lower vibrating the man is, you see that reflected in his relationship choices. Because inside, let me do a survey. It's going to be 5 and 6. Okay, let's jump on that. Outside of public view, in these closed groups, if you think that these men are promoting to get with girls, young girls and young women, teenagers below the age of 20 and younger, if you think outside of public view that they're really purporting that, put up the number 5. If you think that they're not saying any of that, just put up a 6. And let's see where the numbers come in. Because in front of us, they're like, oh, you got to catch them when they're 20. But amongst themselves, what are they really saying? Because they're so low down and so down low vibrating that they need a person that they can step on. And look, you see the numbers coming in. I'm going to try to catch them because they're coming in so quickly, right? Here we go. And so what do you think, CK?
Well, I think that we have to really look at the motivation. And I think you're getting to that too, Tanya. The motivation of men who say this. When we know that the brain doesn't even fully develop until about 25 years old.
The prefrontal cortex.
Yes, the prefrontal cortex that is able to reason, to
Mhm.
right for one, understand that that actions have consequences and have that forethought. They're saying that they want to catch women before they are fully developed and whole beings. And so you always have to ask yourself, when people are telling you something, cui bono, who benefits? Who
Mhm.
benefits from snatching children? And I'm a mother of 4. I have 3 daughters. One is 22, one is 17, and one is 11. And I'll be damned, I would rip a man's throat out with my teeth
Yes.
if they came for my 17-year-old girl.
Yes.
But this is who they're suggesting who the target should be. And it's because they don't want them to have any type of, they don't even want them to have the biological function to reason whether this is
Right.
a good idea. And
Oh,
they don't
you
want
know
to
what?
have the life experiences to be able to gauge if this is normal.
Exactly. And you know what? I've seen too many stories. I've seen too many stories. And you know what? It's really interesting. And I'm so glad that I have you on the line. And we are actually going to do a collaboration together. So everybody, make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you're on my personal mailing list. You have a mailing list, right? On your website, correct?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they can go to getpinkpill.com.
Yeah, go to getpinkpill.com, join her mailing list, come over to tanyatko.com, click on the subscribe button, join my mailing list to find out when we're going to do our full video. This right here is just something impromptu where we came together. But this is really it's a deeper conversation because listen, like I said, I'm applying to grad school right now to just make sure that I'm able to give the most potent, most pungent, most fulfilling information possible to my base and to the world, to prepare people for where it is that they truly want to be. You know, when you talk about the content that people watch, does that content make you feel, does it make you feel uplifted? How does it resonate with your spirit on the inside? Even if you have limiting beliefs, how does that content make you feel? And then also, is this a faux feeling? Because there are people out there who pander to women and tell them things that are not true in order to be able to siphon money from their pockets, and they keep people spiraling in a place that doesn't really assist them. Like, information, how do you know when information, because I remember this specifically when you were speaking with Kendall St. Charles, that she said that sometimes the information comes and it feels bitter, but it's that bitter that so how do you know the difference between information that helps you, that feels uncomfortable, and information that's really hurting you, that also feels uncomfortable?
That's a really, really good question. And it requires a forethought of seeing it through. So yes, Kindle can give you some harsh truths, but she also gives you the tools and recommendations to how to lead a path where you are putting yourself first. And the knowledge of certain things can be jarring. But it puts you on the path to more self-sufficiency, self-realization, being more cunning and more sophisticated and worldly and cosmopolitan. So there's a difference between someone giving you a quote unquote harsh truth that sets you back. For example, telling a woman who's 35 years old who makes 6 figures that she couldn't hope to find a man who is on at least on her level, that she is asking the basic thing that any other woman in the world, you know, operates. It's only us who operate on the deficit as opposed to at least the equal plane or above, because this is what we're taught. So follow, what I would say is follow the logical trajectory of what people are telling you. The logical trajectory of what that man told her, is that elevating her? Is that going to be is that going to give her more success and a more prosperous life? Is it going to make her happier? Is it going to make her safer? So I think
Right.
that
So, you know, the
people need
reason
to
why I ask, and I still I feel like we are kind of, I feel like you're touching on it, but not really diving into it, because there are content creators who are male who
Mhm.
tell women, oh, just adjust your crown, right? Just just get what you deserve, right? And that makes people feel good. It makes them feel elevated. But at the end of
Mhm.
the day, does that message really, really, really assist? Because there's some work that we have to do. So I want to hear.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there is, this is what two extremes are dangerous. The
Mhm.
extreme of black girl magic, yeah, go girl, no matter what. It doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter. You can get, you can get you a millionaire, billionaire. Those messages are not helpful either, but they
Right.
also don't follow a logical trajectory of getting what you want. Because all you have to do is just look around you and see the results of, are you seeing this in real life? I think that like you, Tanya, I spend a lot of time more on YouTube than I actually on TV. And I even have to say, I need to close this laptop and actually look outside and see the people around me. And I'm fortunate enough to where I live and have access to very wealthy people.
Mhm.
And I see how they move and I see how they operate. This is part of my life. So for people who are just on on this journey and maybe be in certain ecosystems where they don't have access to this, they have to fill in the gaps based
Mhm.
on piecemeal information,
Right.
cartoon characters, reality TV. And what really needs to happen is for all of us to step out into real life and observe the people around us, how they move and how
Okay,
they
so
operate.
can you give us an example? Because I'm still kind of stuck, because
Mhm,
I'm thinking, okay, if a woman has never really seen a healthy relationship, and then
mhm,
she comes to one of these content creators who are telling her a bunch of things that sound good. So listen, it
mhm,
sounds good. You are
mhm,
perfect just as you are. That is a
mhm.
true statement, isn't it, Crystalline? You are perfect just as you are. That's a true, is that not a true statement?
Well, here is the thing. I think that we
Okay.
are all perfectly created beings,
Mhm.
but I think that for each person, if you're really introspective, you have to ask yourself, can I be a better self than I am? Not to compete with other people, not to try to reach a standard. And so what I say to women all the time, your competition is you, and
Right.
you need to work to be the best version of yourself. I'm going to give you an example of what I
Mhm.
mean. um, you were on an interview with a guy, and he was saying Black women don't pursue self-improvement.
Oh God.
And I could feel your eyes rolling to
Oh
the back
God.
of your head, because you were saying that Black women are the biggest consumers of self-improvement. We are constantly trying to improve ourselves. But I think the problem that a lot of us have is that we think that there's some quick fix, like get this wig, get this, get this
Yeah.
makeup palette, 5 quick steps to meeting a rich man. And we're really not concentrating on the cultivating what really needs to happen, the true change and the true evolution that happens inside. And there's some things that we also do just really need to really face. There are some truths, and statistics are a good marker for that. Looking at the people around you, do Black women and just the general population need to be fit and lose weight, because we know from an evolutionary standpoint that the more fit you are, it gives a marker in the brain, in the reptile brain, that this person is healthy and fertile and they can successfully pass on children. So yes, though there are things that we do need to improve, but my focus is teaching women that the world is waiting for the best version of you. So give it to them. So the question that I would say is that we all need to ask ourselves, am I really the best version of myself?
Mm-hmm.
And be honest
Okay.
with yourself.
Okay, but then we need to ask, best version of yourself by whose standards?
Yours.
Okay.
Yours.
Okay.
And
then hold on. I want to counter that, because we all have negative self-talk. So how do we know whether or not our negative self-talk is getting the best of us and telling us, well, you could be better. You could be better. Why don't you be better? Why don't you do this better? How do we know the difference between when negative self-talk comes in and it's like telling us that we're not the best version of ourselves? And how do we know the difference between that and when it is coming from a balanced place of saying, you know what, well, there could be some improvement? What is that line?
You know, that's an excellent question, Tanya, because I struggle with that myself. Because while I'm working to be the best version of myself, I'm always working to be better. And I do a lot of work on myself, and it's a constant, for me, you don't stop evolving and growing and learning and becoming the best version of yourself until you die. I don't think there's a cap. In my opinion, I don't think that there's an apex to where that goes, because once you've met a certain bar, then the challenge is to go beyond that. For example, you already have your credentials as a self-love coach, as a certified hypnotherapist, but you are going back to school because there's something that you have already reached a bar, and you're saying to yourself, I can do more. I can do more. So honestly, and with sincerity, I don't know where that cap is, because there's no cap that I put on myself.
Okay, well,
So
I
that's
would
a
love
really
to
good
add something.
question.
I'd love to add, because as a self-love specialist, right, I refrain from using words like should, positive, better, best. I think that those are judgment words. I think those are judgment words that keep us in a state of judgment. And I think that when we start telling ourselves, oh, you can be better compared to what? If you're only, I think that that's what keeps us on that treadmill, that what do you call that bowl that the hamsters are on?
The hamster wheel. The hamster wheel. Yes.
I think that's what keeps us on the hamster wheel. So I'm not going to school to get a really powerful education because I want to be better, or because I want to be my best self. I'm doing it because I feel that this will be something that will allow me to assist more people, allow me to be able to give more of myself, to be able to assist people in elevating themselves. So when we start thinking, right, about our own internal vibration, where are we vibrating at? Are we vibrating high? Are we vibrating low? Are we vibrating in the middle? And are we as full and expansive as we could be? And I think when we are in a particular, so there's a difference between a person working out and they're like, oh my God, I gotta get better. I gotta get better. You see, let me suck it. I think that there's a difference between that energy. And I think that there's a difference between when it comes and you're like, I love myself. What are the ways that I can embody this self-love? What are the ways that I can allow self-love to really take shape inside of me. And I think that what ends up happening is that naturally you start doing things differently. You start navigating differently. When you start thinking about loving yourself, like they're losing weight
Is
and
loving yourself. Yeah.
no, that's
Wait,
not what I'm
no?
about to say. That's not what I'm about to say.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Losing weight and gaining health are very different energies. Very different energies. And I
I see where
think
you're
that
going.
and when you make the focus on gaining health instead of
Mhm,
losing weight, I think
mhm.
that then is when you're in alignment with self-love. I think that the losing weight puts the emphasis on getting rid of something that shouldn't be there,
Yes.
rather than getting into alignment and further enhancing something that is already there. You know?
Yes, I think that that's an excellent point. And what I was trying to get at was, um, when you love yourself and you love your body, and you are, and part of your goal is to express that you have for your body by taking care of it and nurturing it. You can then say to yourself, and I think this is what you're saying, like, if I eat this whole package of Cheetos, am I really showing that I love myself?
Well, you know what? And then that's where judgment comes in. That's where, because for some people, eating a pack of Cheetos is an act of self-love.
But then, if the result gets you to a place where the effects of showing that love for yourself causes problems with your health and your mental faculties and your mood, because if loving yourself, and this is just an honest question, and I really am enjoying us going back and forth with this, in because we do have some differing opinions, and I'm open to what you're saying. But if one person's manifestation of loving themselves puts them in a position where they are unable to feed their brain sufficiently to where they can think correctly, if they are feeding themselves to where it affects their moods and causes depression or anxiety, if they are feeding themselves in a way that causes chronic illnesses like diabetes and high blood pressure and stroke, what does that mean?
I'm glad that you asked, right? And we're going to need to wrap this up. I don't like to record for more than 2 hours. So we're
Mhm.
definitely going to have to schedule our collaboration. And so I think that everything is an individual case by case basis. I mean, is loving yourself eating a carrot while you're crying, thinking about how much you hate your fat? I mean, so it's like, so there are studies that show that people in France eat more butter, more fat, more meat, more dairy, more oils, more all of these things than people in America. But people
Mhm.
in America are still more obese. Why?
Mhm.
And the obesity in America comes from the judgment.
Mhm.
You listen, when I say that we are powerful beings, we are powerful beings. And you can put a carrot in your mouth, and the anxiety and the angst and all of the things that you feel by shoving these carrots and celery, you can gain weight from eating stuff with no fat in it. You can
Mhm.
gain weight from eating something that is supposed to be healthy. And you can lose weight by eating something that is supposed to be quote unquote bad for you, because of the sentiment and the feeling, the emotion, the energy and the aura into which you consume that thing. So yes, Cheetos are not good for you. I'm not going to say that Cheetos have the building block of health. But what I'm saying is that as a human being, that you control your processes, and you can process Cheetos in a way that is a satisfaction of a craving that came that day, and that was the craving that you needed to be able to whatever it is that this is doing for that individual person. And I think that we don't put enough emphasis on wholeness, on looking at health from a holistic standpoint. Like, what is the overall sentiment and energy that I am attaching to this thing? There's, because I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, so I know the power of the mind. That you can sit there and you can eat something that is supposed to make you lose weight, and you can actually gain weight from it, and then vice versa on the other side, because the subconscious mind is going to alter the processes on an inside of your body that is going to alter the chemicals that are secreted, that you can envision yourself, and just the envisioning that you have will alter how your body chemically processes a thing.
Tanya, I just have to say, there's a person, KD, who keeps saying that she can't vibe with me because I'm so superficial.
Superficial.
I guess I should maybe ask, like, why she thinks that way. Maybe she can address that in the chat. I do want to say this. I think that, I see where you're going with this. I was just in Italy.
Oh la
a year or so
la!
ago. And
Prego.
one thing that I noticed about Italy was that there were no fat people. Like, the quote unquote fat people were just chubby. Like, I didn't see the, chronically obese. And one factor in it from a scientific standpoint is there in the EU, in the European Union, and France is obviously part of Europe, and Italy as well. There are chemicals and preservatives and other additives that are legal to put into our food that are illegal to put in the food in all European countries. And that is a big factor in how our body processes the food. While I was in Italy, I ate everything. I ate pasta, I ate pizza, and Italians love their food. They love their food.
Don't they?
There's a different lifestyle, though. They walk a lot more than we do. They walk everywhere. And then you combine that with the fact that these are whole foods that don't have all the chemicals and additives. I left Italy 5 pounds lighter after 11 days because of the quality of the food and the fact that we were just walking everywhere. So I think that
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I spent some time in Italy as well, and so I understand. I understand what you're saying, and I'll counter that with, if you have the idea that the food that you're eating is going to make you fat, that food will make you fat. If you have the idea that there is something different about the quality of the food or something different about the chemicals, now, yes, the chemicals that we use here are different. The chemicals that they use there are different. But what I'm saying is the body, the holistic approach about the metabolism of the body, leptin. Somebody mentioned cortisol. So
Yes.
we're talking about cortisol. We're talking about leptin. We're talking about the adrenal glands. We're talking about insulin. We're talking about all of these different things. And if you feel that something will make you fat, it will, regardless of what that thing is.
Yeah, I think that also your lifestyle, because and this is where I agree, and I love that. You know what I love right now is that we actually are disagreeing about something, but we're both hearing each other and we're being respectful to each other. And I'm learning some things, and and you're taking in what I'm saying. And this is how discourse should happen. And this is how civilized people function. So
you're so sweet. I want to address someone's. Did you have more that you wanted to add?
Sorry. I wanted to leave the ladies with a tip on how they can start getting that exposure to a different type of person. But that was just a closing remark that I had just on, I want to leave your audience with some tools that they can use to start beginning to think about elevating and expanding.
Okay. And so I want to address two comments and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. So Majesty is saying, as a transpersonal hypnotherapist, obesity is often not solely caused by what is physically eaten. The root cause is often a subconscious program from the past that is playing out and hasn't been changed. So I as a certified clinical hypnotherapist, I believe that wholeheartedly. I have seen some amazing things take place with hypnotherapy. So I feel you on that. And then there was another person who came out and said, I can't imagine eating pizza every day and being able to lose weight. And so when we start thinking about what is the impetus for eating and stopping and things of that nature, right? There are people who get gastric bypass and don't lose weight. You know what I mean? There are people who I realize the role that stress plays on weight loss and weight gain when I was living in my car. And for all intents and purposes, I was fasting a lot each and every day. I was subsisting because I was living in my car. I wasn't getting enough food. I was fasting a lot and I did not lose weight when I was living in my car. I ended up bigger, even though I was eating less food, fasting a great amount of the time, drinking a lot of water. I ended up gaining weight from the sheer stress of just being in that situation. And I think that we have to look at health and wellness from a holistic standpoint. And and so like with the whole eating pizza every day, when you're in a balanced place and you're feeling healthy mentally, how much of that pizza are you going to eat every day? Are you going to sit there, taking the whole pie out of the box and just eating it like a giant cookie? You know what I'm saying? It's like, or when you're in a balanced place and you're not looking for food to substitute something that you're missing and lacking emotionally, do you eat just enough and you're like, oh, okay, well, I've had enough? Or like, are you searching for something in that food? Because you can eat pizza every day, or you can eat carrots every day. I mean, I'm vegetarian. When I was living in my car, I ate a vegetarian diet every single day and gained weight from the stress of living in my car. And so and this was before I became a hypnotherapist. And so as a hypnotherapist, when you work with the subconscious mind, like your mind can control your metabolism. There's so many powerful things that we can do. Did the person KD ever address why they felt that you were being superficial?
I don't know. Like, there's nothing that I do that is superficial.
Well, you know what? I'll say something that I saw in the comments on Chrissy's video, because Chrissy talks about losing weight and being in shape, and there are people who feel that that's superficial and that people shouldn't talk about losing weight or gaining health. And this is the part that we were talking about, the discomfort. Of figuring out there are things that I can change. There are things that I can change. And how do I do those things? You know what I mean? Exercising can be self-loving or it can be self-abusing, depending on the energy behind how you're exercising and why you're exercising. And this has more control over how that exercise shows up in your body than anything else. So go ahead, and then we'll wrap it up, and then we'll get out of here. Say your counter statement, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, I once read an article from a nutritionist who said that he was consulting an overweight man, and he said, I don't get it. I don't know why I'm fat. All I do is eat oranges. Only thing I eat all day is oranges. And so the nutritionist asked him, well, how many oranges do you eat? Oh, I'll eat like, the whole bag. Like a whole bag of oranges that you get like on the side. Like, I live in California, and some people will just sell like this huge bag of oranges, and that's all he ate. But anything in excess is damaging. And so I would say that it's a combination. There was a nutritionist in the comments who said, we're both right. And that how you think and your stress levels have a direct correlation in how your body processes the food and nutrients in your body. If you have high levels of cortisol, which is a stress hormone that actively affects particularly belly fat, then you can eat a carrot. And because your body is in crisis mode, the way that the body processes those nutrients are then diverted in certain ways. So Absolutely. I think that there's truth in both of what we're saying right now. And thank you for reinforcing that in me, because I do spend a lot of time on the practical of what we need to do, because I don't believe in diets, and I don't believe in crash diets. I don't believe in just, losing weight. The reason why I don't believe that is because once you get off that diet, you're just going to go back to where you were before. It really needs to be a systemic psychological and physical change in your routine, and how you the choices that you make every day. And it has to be something that stays the same. Now, I want to just, I know this is just like where I'm just like going back to how you can meet
Wait, before we do that, I want to say one last thing about that. I just want to tell people to look into leptin. I realized when I was watching one of these shows about my 600-pound life, this woman, all she ate was a Subway sandwich. She would eat a foot-long Subway sandwich for the day. And the more fat you have, the more leptin is secreted when you eat. So look into leptin and the role that leptin plays, leptin, because I think it's important for us to know the complexity of this human machine that we have. So on that note, I will, and then also, I'm sorry, that Mr. Let Go is here in the audience. And, we mentioned him, or at least I know I did mention him earlier, right? Mm-hmm. And he was giving some information about why we are overweight. And I think it's important, and we mentioned this earlier, I think it's important for people to defer to experts, people who, yeah, I think it's important for people to defer to experts, because I was actually conversing on my other channel after I put a video up. Mr. Let Go came in and was like arguing with people in the comments and stuff. And it was this person who was a psychologist who had mentioned some things, and Mr. Let Go was kind of arguing with her. And it dawned on me, I was like, here's a person who's talking about their credentials, about being a psychologist and being all of these things. And then there's a person who has no credentials, who is just using their testicular matter to bump together as their basis for the knowledge and information that they have. And it made me realize, and I stopped even going over there to even comment, because I realized that, and I have to be a lot more careful about conversing with people without the training, without the knowledge, without the credentials, without the verification of some sort of organizing entity that gives credence to the words that we speak. And so I think that I would love to leave people on that note, to just vet your gurus, because there are a lot of people out there who could say a lot of different things, and the stuff that they're saying could be hogwash.
Tanya, I was going to say something else, but this is I'm going to back up what you're saying 100%. We were just talking about this is called a fallacy of authority. Okay. When you have a person who is an authority in one area, who then people are extending the authority that they have in one area to another. So I use the example of Albert Einstein, who was a physicist. And he was the top of his, but could you ask Albert Einstein to perform heart surgery? Could you ask Albert Einstein to repipe your house? So the fallacy of authority, where you have a person who is, I don't know, an image consultant and certified as an image consultant, then giving advice on dating and relationships. I don't know. I mean, does that happen? Is that a real thing? And so when you're talking about the fallacy of authority, ask your plumber to perform heart surgery on you. Ask your dentist where you can get the best bundles for your yaki. Ask your nurse to fix your carburetor.
Not the yaki. The yak.
So I want us to really, and when we have these discussions, we need to identify who is giving us this advice and their credentials in doing so. And I'm sure that you guys could find a lot of jokes for this fallacy of authority. Ask your gardener to plan your next trip to Italy. You know, just
Yeah, but you know what? You make some great points, because a person can be an authority at a thing. Like Albert Einstein there's some famous quote where he has, if you judge a fish by his ability to ride a bicycle, you know, it's like, so a fish can be really amazing at being a fish, being in water, but not be able to even do something as simple as ride a bicycle.
right.
So yeah, so there are some things that naturally and biologically we are a thing. But being that thing naturally and biologically does not give us credence in other areas outside of our professional scope. No matter how amazingly and wonderfully we are able to do a thing, that does not give us the authority to do all things and speak on all things. And if you would like to be able to have cogent, coherent thoughts and speak on different things, I implore each one of us out there to get educated, to educate yourself, to do your due diligence, because there are a lot of people, like you said, and I find that men particularly have issues with realizing when they need to do better.
Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And your closing remarks?
Well, I would just say this, that we are all seeking. I think this is a human condition. But one thing that you do need to do is don't be afraid to question authority and question what is being told to you, and think about and follow a train of logic. I mean, I was going to give these tips on how to meet high value men, but we were going down this line, and I think it's important that we close with what you were saying, because we got a lot of experts on here who are telling us this is the way it is. And the first thing we need to do is examine the authority from which the pulpit in which they are standing on. And that's where I would like for all of us to leave with. And it's okay to do that with me. I'm sure it's okay to do that with Tanya. Like part of making educated and informed decisions that enhance our life is questioning the source of who is telling you this information.
Yes, you know, I would love you to add a sentence or two, because I wouldn't want us to get derailed from the information that can help so many women. How can some of these women be able to meet high value men who have invested in themselves and who are making sure that they are authorities on the things that they are authorities on, and are able to admit when something is outside of their scope?
Well, here's what I would say. I did an interview with Lance Groth as part of my high value series, and I asked him how he goes about selecting women who he dates. And he said, I'm a creature of my environment. I'm so busy in doing what I do. It's just who is around. And so I want to leave the women with a strategy, a formula for friendships, creating friendships, relationships, enhancing your social circle. There is a formula. It's based on proximity. It is based on the duration. It's based on intensity. And for example, your proximity to these people. He said, the people who are around me. Are you in settings? Are you putting yourself in settings that you are in proximity to the people that you want to see?
Yes.
And then we talk about the duration, how long, and the frequency. So duration and frequency. How frequent are you in proximity to these people? What is the duration? And then finally, it's the intensity. And intensity is the quality. So it's the proximity, it's the frequency, it's the duration, and the intensity. So this formula works for creating friendships, and your social circle. And it's also when it comes to meeting and magnetizing the type of men that you want to reach. So think in terms of that. How can I in my life employ those 4 factors of proximity, frequency, duration, and intensity to attract the people who I want in my life.
Yes, and you know what? Listen, don't give all the game away for free, girl. Listen, because you be
I
dropping
make
some
that
jewels
mistake
there.
all the time.
What'd you say?
I make that mistake constantly. I do.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, what is your Cash App?
I don't have I don't have a Cash App. I don't, but for
Really?
our Sunday event, you can, y'all can drop some super chats. All of the super chats go towards the scholarship for the Pink Pill for College to help young girls get on that path and not have them go on 10-year detours. So
Yeah.
all of that goes towards that.
Okay. Well, you know what? Listen, I think it's important to teach. I also think it's important to allow people to participate in the energy of abundance, because we don't do people a service by giving them away things without them investing in it. We actually
Absolutely.
hurt them because we put them in a position where now they are participating in activity which is constricting, like,
Mhm.
and I realized this, like, if you're wealthy, be wealthy. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's like wealth is there's an energy to wealthiness. And in order to be able to donate and give to charity, you have to have the money. And when you put yourself in a position to give, right, you actually open up to receive more. You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
this is
Well,
why I
and
don't let people work for me for free. Like anybody who
right.
works for me, I pay them because
Yes,
the
I do
energy
too.
of it.
Mhm. And when I say this, that the formula, the proximity, duration, frequency, and intensity, we go deeper in the actual courses of this. So while I gave you the what and the how, the pink pill, getpinkpill.com gives you the what and the why. The pink pill gives you the how. So I told you the what and the why. Pink pill gives you
Okay.
the how.
Okay. So what is it that people can expect in your course?
We cover so much. I think there's even some people who have taken the courses already. The latest course is the Pink Pill for Business, and it's the most comprehensive, and it is a business etiquette and leadership course that teaches us the soft skills that build our social capital. So all of the courses are geared towards the social side of enhancing ourselves so we can be in the proximity of people who we want to influence for our benefit.
Okay, perfect.
BK Chick
Wonderful.
said, I bought the pink pill.
Nice.
Erica says, gee, I bought. So there's a lot of people who have taken the pink
Okay,
pill.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that. So thank you for blessing us on this broadcast. Let's set
Absolutely.
up when we do our official collaboration. This was really just meant to I guess give a little taste.
Yeah, teaser.
Teaser. That's right. And then we're going to come back in and do an entire broadcast together. So there are a lot of people who got the pink pill. And I'm actually thinking about coming over and seeing what type of person should a person like me who doesn't have any issue meeting high value people who have high earners and a network of wonderful people, what type of person is the ideal candidate for this thing that you're doing with Kendall St. Charles?
Well, we really are diving into, and this is called the insidious lure of meanness, why we are attracted. We're going to delve in deeply, talking about self-verification and talking about the fallacies that keep us believing faulty information. It's a 2-day event. And you can click on any of my latest videos and you can get the links to them if people want to register.
What type of person is an ideal candidate for the thing that you're doing with KSC?
Searching for the answers, people who are struggling with faulty ideals and self-limiting beliefs because of how they were cultivated. Tanya, I don't think you're in that demo. Like, you're not my demo. I I would say that pretty much every woman who follows certain men on YouTube would be good candidates, but also just I'm being
Like
tongue in cheek here.
how does a woman know? Because I took this course on how to advertise a webinar.
Well,
And
I mean, are you attracted to negative things? Are you attracted to the negativity? Just ask yourself what if you are faced in your YouTube feed, if you see a video that is a negative representation of a Black woman, and right next to it is a positive representation of a Black woman telling you about butterflies and rainbows, which video do you click first?
yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, just from sister to sister, I think that it's a great idea to let the consumer, let your target audience know who she is, so that she will be able to read it and say, you know what, I do this, I feel this way, speak to her pain. And what is it that hurts her? What is it that she's feeling? So that the right woman, when she reads that, she's like, you know what? This is for me. Because nobody knows what's going to be inside of your course. You know what's in there, but the people on the outside don't know who your targeted audience is. And then also, when a person is in that state, they don't know that I'm in that state. They don't know that they have this self-fulfilling prophecy that brings them to the things that actually end up hurting them. So what does this person do? How do they feel? What types of things do they say to themselves? What type of actions are they participating in? So that when your targeted audience reads, they're like, that is me. This woman knows me. Like she can see my soul. Remember when Lauryn Hill was like, what was that line in her song, Killing Me Softly? What was the line that she sang? What was it?
Strumming my pain with his fingers, singing my life with his song, killing me softly with his song. Yeah.
Exactly.
It told telling your whole life. Yes. And I do try to do that. And for me, I have a lot of ideas, and there's a lot of topics in my mind at one time. I'm a creator. And I get really passionate talking about the creation of things. But what I do need to get better at is what you just said. So I think that you're right. But I think that to illustrate what we're talking about, if people want to look at the video that Kendall and I did last Sunday, and if the messages that we were telling you are speaking to you, then it might be something that you might want to consider.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we'll talk more about it off camera. So I appreciate you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence here today. I can't wait until we do our collab. That's going to be so much fun. Our collab is going to be about self-love. Tell the people.
Yes, no, I wanted to just, the reason why I wanted to have you on is that with all of the negativity, that the counter energy that's coming in while we're on our level up journey, the counter energy of our fledgling self-esteem and beginning to realize that we're worth more than what we've been taught, and then being attacked with this counter energy. How can we love ourselves through this? And that's why I wanted to have you to talk about that, that aspect.
Okay, sounds good.
And maybe just a general gripe session of how frustrating it's been. Because do you feel like it's almost like an active energy of undoing of the work that you and me and other content creators are trying to do?
No. I feel like there's different people out there. This is why it's very important to speak to your target audience and to know who your targeted audience is. So my targeted audience are women between the age of 25 and 45 who are interested in feeling that juicy, just vibrant, jubilous love. You know, there are some people who are on a different journey. My targeted audience are the people who know and have already recognized that there's an issue, and they are actively in the process of solving that issue. Do I feel like a person? Like, no, I feel like his targeted audience and my targeted audience are very different people. So after that young lady finishes on that broadcast, after she's cried into her pillow, after she's had her dark night of the soul and she looks up into the heavens and she screams, why? When she comes onto YouTube, my video will pop up. She's ready. She's ready.
But I think for me, I have a compassion. I mean, I have this need, like it is almost pathological to shake awake people who aren't there yet. And so it's my desire to, and it's oftentimes why I go into spaces where the women aren't there yet. And my passion is to kind of shake them awake. And a lot of times I go into places with women who are not yet arrived to be my target audience. And for me, it's more nebulous because oftentimes they have not arrived. Like, for example, a lot of people will come to me and say, you know what? I started listening to you 2 years ago. I hated you and I didn't want to hear what you had to say, but you planted a seed, and what you said, I went back to what I was used to. I went back to what was feeding me at the time, but that seed that you put in me made me start to question things.
Right. And so I hope you understand it's not about you. It's not about you. It's really so you're speaking to a particular person. There's a person who heard something and the seed was planted. Remember this phrase, it's hard to argue with a person's reality. When a person thinks something to be true, when their reality is a certain thing, you cannot argue with that reality. It's when those cracks come in the vase and you're able to see the light through the vase that you realize there may be something else out there. You know, just like Plato's allegory of cave. So it's like it's more than just what it is that we do and what it is that we present. And somebody said inside of the comments that I made a video that I was feeling some sort of way last week when I just wrote that I was tired, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired because I feel like on that particular day, I was tired because of a lot of things. And I said the things that I was tired of. And part of it was me coming to the realization that the Black man is a conquered man worldwide. And that there are people who are speaking from that level of understanding. I personally thought that some of the people who were here were ready. And I am more firm and cemented in the fact that there are some people who are not ready.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you all this. This is just between us. When I first came into contact with Brooklyn Blue, and she was, you know, saying the things that she was saying, how Black men are really, that part of their anger is because they want to be Black women. So that's why they're angry about how Black women get dates paid for them. And this is why you see them saying, oh, why should I have to pay for your date? Why should I have to pay for your lifestyle? Why should I have to pay? And it's because they wish that they were able to receive that by virtue of their own inner femininity. That they wish they had the uterus and the female accoutrements to be able to demand that. And when I first heard her say that, I was stunned. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, wow, why would she say something like that? And like you said, a seed was planted, right? And then I started looking, like you talk about looking outside of your, because listen, it's very difficult. Because I wasn't raised in a fatherless home. I wasn't raised in a home with a Black American man. So my perspective is very different. I am used to masculinity and manhood and responsibility, and I'm used to that sort of thing. And so my tiredness is coming to the realization that what it is that I'm used to, that is not the norm out there. That there are a lot of people out there who are, women included. And my surprise and my stun is that women are actually, and so I need to educate myself more. And I would love to, it's like there are things that I need to learn about the different types of women that exist out there who are problematic and who, because, you know, it's like my reality is the lights are always on. The man is responsible and upstanding. He has integrity. You can trust him. You can rely on him. This is why when I meet men who are, it doesn't matter what it is. If he says, oh, I'm going to call you at 7, and now it's 9 or the next day, me turn off. Me turn off. I cannot do it. I can't do it. When I see that, I'm like, does not compute. I do not understand. You know, like it's like water. That doesn't compute with me. I don't understand it. It does not vibrate with me. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense. And so those people get pushed out very early on. I do not negotiate with terrorists. I don't let a person come into my life terrorizing me. And so I just get real turned off. My vagina is quick to turn to toast. Just
yeah, dries up all the way. Yeah,
very, very much so. And so it took me a while to realize and understand, and I need to understand human beings better. And the impetus for how I need to understand how a person's upbringing, being born in the brine, and what types of family dynamics aid in them presenting as they present. And so this is part of the reason that I'm going to really go in and learn and study psychology and be able to bring these lessons. So like when you bring up a term like self-fulfilling prophecy, self-realization, the fallacy of authority, all of these types of things, like really learning, like let my Ivy League education benefit the public. That's and you know what? That's my college essay right there. I went, you know what, I'm gonna take this and cut this up into my college essay. But that's the reason why I want to go and learn more. Like, remember when you talked about the fallacy of authority? So yes, I am really good at understanding the things that we need to do to learn how to shift into self-love. I wrote this book. Oh, my book gone. It's not behind me. Oh, that's right, because I was looking in it last night. So I'm really good at the mechanics. What affirmations do I need to say? What do I need to do? What practices and habits do I need? However, I need to understand the psychology of human beings and why a person is driven to a certain thing in the first place. What is it about this? What is it about the relationship with the mother, with the father? What is it about the relationship with themselves? How does that relate to what it is that they incarnated into this earth to do? So rather than just being like, oh, I'm an authority on all things, I'm going to get myself educated in the things that I need to learn to be able to help more people. You know what I mean?
That's and that's what I do, because for me, I'm extremely inquisitive, and I come upon something that I don't understand. It has a almost physical reaction. It causes me anxiety and frustration until I can actually understand it, and it crystallizes, and I can apply it. So I think that what a similar energy, and I don't think it's really dissimilar. Because I saw the video where you said that you were coming to that realization where you were frustrated. And I mean, Kendall and I have come to the conclusion of, a while ago. Black women just aren't there. And my desire is more towards come on, like going into those hostile territories and that uncharted land and in that wilderness and showing them a different way, which actually gets me into, some trouble every now and again, So, I mean, it is, what you offer is valuable, and the fact that you're self-motivated and that you don't need external factors to motivate you. You have an internal, what we call an internal locus of control, where you believe that you affect your environment, not that your environment affects you. But what you need to realize, and what you'll probably learn, is that many of us have an external locus of control where we believe that the world happens to us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? This conversation is so good. Oh my goodness, girl. I don't even feel like we're on a broadcast. I really,
I'm just talking on the phone.
Yeah, I know. LaRon is saying you guys have great banter. We are women. Calling us guys is not uplifting to our femininity. Okay,
right.
let's because I so thank you, LaRon.
Ain't nothing masculine going on over here.
Exactly. Don't misgender me.
We all women over here, honey.
You're so silly. Listen, you know what? This conversation can go on, and I'm so happy we had this conversation. Thank you so much for blessing us with your wisdom and your grace and your femininity. There are things that we all can do to enhance ourselves, and the energy behind it. I want us to focus on the energy behind what it is that we're doing to enhance ourselves. And for many of us, you know, we have never really had anybody tell us, oh, you know what, let's focus on health gain instead of weight loss. You know, let's work on being
love it.
healthy. If anything, we have so many people who are like, girl, you don't need to do nothing, don't lose too much weight. You know, you know what I'm saying? They see you running and they're like, don't lose too much weight, we like you as you are.
And then these same people will turn around and say, all Black women are fat. Well, you've been telling us for 40 years, 50 years, you like all this meat.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden now we fat. Now you want us to be a size 4. When did that happen?
This is why it's important to do what it is that you need to do for you, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, somebody mentioned it, moving the goalposts. You've been wanting all this big booty and all this juicy stuff jiggling. You know, remember LL Cool J? You're jiggling, baby. Go ahead, baby.
I thought he was talking about earrings.
No, honey.
He wasn't talking about earrings?
Girl, no. Girl, go back and listen to You Jiggling, Baby.
Shut your doggone mouth. Oh, no. We're going to have to do a survey. Because I got some door knockers after he did that video. I went and got me some door knockers. And I was like, ow. But you think he's talking about feminine fat?
He's talking about feminine fat, girl. You're jiggling, but yes.
I was young when that song came out. So maybe in my innocence.
Oh, yeah, girl. No.
What? Oh, no.
Can I look up the words to You Jiggling, Baby real quick so I can read it to you?
Hold on, let me do that. This is, I don't understand. No, tell me this. Okay, you're jiggling, baby. Oh, look, there's meaning. You're jingling, baby. Let's see. All right, so here, let's see the lyrics. It says more. All right, here you go. Can you all see that? Let me make this bigger. So, all right, so can you all see? It's up there. Can you see? All right. So here's the lyrics. Help us.
Okay. Okay, let me look at it. They call me Uncle L, future of the funk, records minus the junk. People spread gossip and believe what they must while I slam duck and make them bite the dust. A minute is needed to make a phony Roni bleed. I put them in a bucket like it's chicken feed. Check out the pick me litter, not a quicker. I'm nice, y'all. I'ma dust you off and dust you off twice. You never heard this so observant, all hysterical fan. Can we just go through like the actual chorus?
Oh, gracious. It's the stuff I never heard in here.
Where is it where he says you're jiggling, baby?
You're jingling, baby. Go ahead, baby. You're jingling, baby. Go ahead, baby.
You guys think it's about earrings?
You know what? Let's do the survey. Let's do the survey.
I was thinking he was talking about booties jiggling.
Let's do 7 and 8. If you think he was talking about earrings, put up 7. If you think he was talking about booties, put up 8. Let's do the survey real quick.
Girl, all this time I was thinking he was talking about booty.
Listen, let's see. I don't know.
I have a better song that is clear what he's talking about, and that's Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Hold on. Here's this one part. He says, when you first walked in, I didn't know what to think. You grabbed the microphone like your stuff don't stink. And I tried to run that. I can't get over that. BS, you were saying you called a battle rap. You gonna go against the army with a handgun? See, he's talking about guns and stuff. So I don't even see anything talking about earrings.
Yeah, well,
look.
Yeah, so he's not even talking. Okay, he says
you be jingling and your earrings be jingling and shaking all over the place. And it's real. Honey, I know the way you be jingling word. Go ahead, baby. I can't believe you tried to grip the mic as me. I serve scrubs. And these are some very aggressive lyrics to be talking about.
So
women.
now I'm even more confused. I'm even more confused. But okay, so maybe a better song would be "Baby Got Back." And I have a funny story. I have a funny story. So the woman who was in that video, I used to work at the Carson Mall. Anybody in LA who's from California knows the Carson Mall. And I used to work at a retail store called Rave. And the woman who was in Baby Got Back, and she had one of those, the bodies, just the quintessential afro, just the beautiful hourglass, but the butt was just so exaggerated. There was a parade of men following behind her, and everybody was like, and so we all looked at the parade of men of the girl from the Sir Mix-a-Lot video, Baby Got Back. And it just goes to show that, while that is something that is uniquely Afrocentric of the African body, this particular Black girl was never graced with that. And many Black women, in order to achieve that look, the fat doesn't just that musculature or that enhancement of the bottom doesn't just get distributed in the butt. There is no juice. There is no food. There is nothing you can do aside from surgery that is going to direct the food. There is no exercise that is going to direct directly to the butt. So if you gain the weight to get that booty, most of the time it goes everywhere else.
Yeah.
And so you have this standard of, many Black women wanting their women to look like Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is that that's not realistic for most of us. So I don't know how we got. Now I totally lost my train of thought talking about LL Cool J. The point was what I was making. Was
you know what the point? How we got on it is
now
that you said that they moved the goalposts. Like they were like,
yes,
"Oh, we love these booties."
They
now they're like, "Oh, we want
women.
you slim."
Yes, and then you even had women in our community saying, "Girl, you don't try to lose too much weight because men don't like no bony woman." And now you have somebody who is in the a dominant member in the male space who is saying this is exactly the ideal. So again, the goalpost, when you're talking generations and generations of being taught through word and deed that this is something that you should aspire to now be told that you're fat and you're disgusting and all of you are fat and disgusting, and why can't you be like the white women's?
You're so cute. You're so cute. No, I feel you. So look, exactly. So you're right. But then also, like you said, when we look at the confirmation, right? What type of men were the ones who were telling you don't work out? Were they the ones that you wanted? Or were they randos on the street that were like, oh, well, you know what? I listen. No, they were many different plethora of men, and so now I do think that things have changed. I think that the standard in the Black community has changed, and I think that Black women, we need to get a panel of women together and talk about this. We need to get
love that.
Yeah, we need to get a panel.
Standards of beauty do change, but we're talking about a beauty standard in the Black community that was persistent for nearly a century, and that was they wanted a thicker type of woman. And you're talking about generations and generations of that conditioning.
Exactly. So yeah, you know what we do? We need to do more together. We need to bring the conglomerate together. So listen, I appreciate you so much for coming out.
I appreciate you too so much.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you came out. I'm glad that you spent this time with us. Everybody, make sure that you go over to the Pink Pill, go to her channel, support, watch the video that she did with the Millionaire, as well as with Lennon. His name was Lennon or Lennox.
No, it's Lance Growth. So for y'all who prefer the Black Millionaire, you can listen to Lance. If you're an equal opportunity, listen to both of them.
Yeah. You know what? I would love to have a swirling conversation with you because it's such a
Yes.
contentious topic. You know
I
what? We have
know,
got to come back. We need to brainstorm on all the things we can talk about together because there's so much to discuss. There's so much to
Yes.
discuss.
That would be great. That would be great. I would love to take this conversation to Atlanta, where these women are still caught in this self-defeating matrix. But anyway, that's a whole other side
You know
conversation.
what we you know what we should do? You know what we
What?
should do? What we should do is we should find, or what we could do, because I don't like the word should. What we could do is find women who are at their top of their game and really cogent, potent in their particular field and come together for like a seminar. Because one of the things that I notice is that when it comes to the seminars that they do, that they bring these Black male coaches up there, that all they really do is have a bunch of men who have two testicles that can squish together to come listen,
Yes.
to come together and speak, right?
Yes,
But
like
really,
Tyrese, like I'm like, why is anybody going to Tyrese for advice on anything?
when he was over there rolling around in the damn grass, crotch to crotch with his daughter, violating his court protected orders, putting up airplanes in the sky, violating the child running back into school in tears. All of this, just this pure craziness. You're right. And people, it's like all they have is some XY chromosomes and two testes to squish upon one another, to come up there banging together, talking about they received something from the ancestors, from the crotch, just jangling.
You're jangling, baby.
Sit down, baby. But yeah, we need to bring together some really, because you know what? When it comes to the archetypes and female power and that dynamic, I would love to get with KSC. When it comes to leveling up, getting with you, self-love, me, the dark skin issue, Chrissy, I would love to just get all of, but you know, Chrissy wouldn't do a seminar. She wouldn't do one in person because she keeps herself hidden because
Well,
so
Kendall is also very protective. Like what you guys don't understand is this, just a side note, she gets, death threats. Like we get
what?
death
People want to
threats.
kill you too? Not my
Yes.
sweet Pinky.
I have been doxxed. I had a retreat of 30 women from my Pink Pill organization at a beautiful wine resort in Temecula. And somebody wrote to the marketing department that I was not hosting a Pink Pill retreat, but I was hosting coaching sessions on how to cultivate Black women into being prostitutes.
Lord of mercy. And the retreat canceled you?
No, they didn't. The marketing company said, we know this isn't true, but we just wanted to give you the heads up. But they tried it, though. They tried it.
Really? That's so crazy. People are saying Chrissy gets death threats as well.
Yes, she does. So, I mean, it's just for a lot of us, it's a safety issue, especially when you're talking about, and what Kendall talks about is so deep, and it can really just, and it upsets the status quo, and to the point where she is so lied upon, and gets death threats. So it's I don't know if she's ever going to. I mean, she, we talk about it. She floats the idea every now and again, but it really is a matter of safety.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm glad that I'm just glad that has not happened to me. I'm just glad, and I don't want to attract that to me either. I'm not interested in that.
Right.
Wow. I'm sorry that just for speaking, but it's like there are people out there who are unhinged.
Yes, there are. I mean, and that's what YouTube is, a double-edged sword, because you can you can interact and reach so many people, but then everybody has the mic, and any crazy person can take the mic and influence certain people who don't have all their screws to do certain things. And so it's just a matter of protection. But I dare them to come into my $1 million neighborhood trying to talk, that you got my address. You know, I mean, like seriously, you could try it. You
So
can
you're
try
gonna be
it.
standing up
Little
out there
bit
like that millionaire man and his wife with the guns, just standing there like this.
you know, you want to meet my new friend, you know, it's like you can try it. You know, when I say I'm pink, I'm all the way pink, honey.
What does that
I'm
mean?
all the way pink. You know they make pink guns too.
Oh
Okay.
Lord have mercy!
So
You
you
know
can try
something?
it.
And on that note, listen, that's one to leave on right there. Oh goodness, Crystalline, it was so great speaking with you. Everybody throw your pinkies up. Go over to her channel. Make sure that you
Pinkies
subscribe.
up.
And oh, thank you to the people who sent cash apps during the broadcast. I appreciate that. I just want to give a quick shout out to Bethany, who sent $50. She says, great dialogue. So thank you for that. And then I was on Facebook earlier and I felt that this needed a mention. Somebody sent me $110 saying, great show from one strong woman to the next. This is when we were talking about African stuff on the Facebook page. So thank you. I appreciate that. Her name is Goodness. So thank you, Goodness. I appreciate that. You know, personal question before you get off.
Mhm.
How do you feel about YouTube taking so much of the super chat?
You know, this is
That's
where
why I don't use it. I turned it off the moment I turned it
you
on.
know, it's for me I am a creature of convenience, and it's the reason why I haven't gotten Cash App. I mean, I do have a PayPal me thing. This is a laziness on my part.
Okay.
You know,
I
so
see.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
To be
I don't
honest
like it
with you.
either. I
don't
turned it
like
on and
it.
turned it right the hell back off because they took 45%. And I
Yeah,
said, what is? Because people
right.
said, because I was just out chilling. People sent me money to buy this hat with the little pom-pom on top. It was a cute little winter hat and it was $20. People sent $4 to $5, $5 here, $10, $9.99. And when I got that, it was half the amount. I said, what happened to the rest of the money? I said, no.
I
I
had no
turned that
idea it
off.
was 35%. See, this is where
45%.
oh my
you know
God.
how I knew? How I knew is because people sent me exactly $20. And from the $20, I ended up with like $10.50.
Oh.
And I said, how you send me $20, I get $10.50. I said,
oh.
YouTube. I said, there's some splaining to do.
Okay, well, you have encouraged me. I am going to activate Cash App. Listen, this is when I say I'm always trying to level up myself. You know, I do have my strong points, but I do have my weaknesses, and part of it is like stuff like this. And so, thank you for alerting me. I had no idea. I wasn't paying attention like that.
Yeah, and you know what? The reason why I stopped using is because I know that the people who sent that to me had it in their intention for me to get a hat with that. But when YouTube took 45% of it, I was like, I know that those people would not have given that if they knew that YouTube was going to take. So like everybody who gives $100 to you, YouTube is taking 45 of those dollars.
Oh my God.
And I think that's disrespectful to the people who are giving. You know what I mean? It's like it's disrespectful to them because they didn't.
Right.
That's not what they didn't consent to that. You
No,
know?
you're right. So you guys have inspired me, and those of you in the chat have also inspired me to get a Cash App, and I will try to have it up and running on Sunday, so you can bless me with your cash blessings, and I hope that you are blessing Tasha with those cash blessings as well. And I need to get Cash App so I can give you blessings to Tanya. I'm sorry, I meant Tanya. I need to get Cash App so I can bless you as well.
Oh, you know what? Okay, if that's what you want to do, I will receive it. However, there may be other ways that we can bless one another. You know what I mean? Like I allow people to send me cash apps because I know that it actually helps them receive more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so like people like the energy flow, like I allow people to do that because it's a way for people to be able to connect with their inner abundance and to be able to support the content which supports them, which is important because then the universe is like, oh, well, you want to support, let me give you more money to support. You know what I mean? Yeah. However, you know, we can let's do something together. Let's do something together.
Yes, you know, definitely. I would like for us to be friends. I would like to you know, and network. And guys, this is also a cornerstone for your success, whether with friendships and your career or relationships, is the more people that you know. And networking isn't about just what one person can do for you. It's finding ways that you can help them. And it's a reciprocal relationship.
Yes.
So I would very much love to have you in my network. I would be honored.
You are so sweet. I would be too. And when I come back to California, we're definitely going to, even if it's 6 feet apart, you know?
Oh no, we're not gonna do 6 feet apart.
Who
We're
ain't
not
gonna
gonna
do
do
what?
We're not gonna do 6 feet apart. You're gonna come to my house, or we're gonna go somewhere. We're gonna go to some winery somewhere.
You
And
don't know Tanya yet. 'Cause
well,
Tanya don't play that
listen.
game
Well, then
with she
can we
held.
make it after this whole
Okay.
thing is over? Because
All
that's
right.
what I would very much like to do, because I like to interact face to face. I like to see people's face expressions, their whole face expressions, their body language, and connect with them on the human level.
If you see my face expression, for anybody who tries to come within 6 feet of me right now, I don't know if you will want to see that, honey.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I know. After the pandemic.
Yeah.
But even if we meet during the pandemic, I'm okay with 6 feet. I've had meetups with people.
I will respect
heart to
your
heart.
boundaries.
Thank you, because listen, I do not want anything inside of me that may cause permanent damage. You never know how
Yes, I do. Surprisingly enough, I'm getting my first COVID test today, like right after I get off I'm on my way to get my COVID test.
Before you even got your test? Oh no, honey. What's happening right now? What's going on? What's going on? I just messing with you, but you know what? We've been on for 3 hours, which is way, I've gone over my own. It's just, it goes so fast when you're having fun.
It does.
So you know what? Thank you everybody for coming through. Thank you for the people who have stayed here with us and have shared their love with us. Crystalline, thank you so much. Thank you. There's
Am
more
I a
to
knockout now? I'll ask people in the chat. One last survey. Am I a knockout?
Am I an honorary knockout? You are so silly. You know what? If she is a knockout, put up the number 10. If you feel that Crystalline is now an official knockout, put up a 10. Let's see. Let's let them vote.
Okay. I'm nervous. Can I be in the top too?
The 10s are coming through.
Yay.
The 10s are coming.
Watch, some Desi gonna be like,
somebody said no.
1, 0.
All of it, they're coming so fast. Okay, they're calling us squad. Yes, Tam is saying yes. So many numbers. Okay, you got it. There's so many, I can't do all of them.
I knew somebody was gonna give me a 1.
You're so silly. Listen, on that note, I will see you in the next video, my dear. Thank you so much for coming out.
All right. Bye, Tanya. We'll talk soon. We'll talk tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Have a great day, everybody. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So I appreciate you all coming out. Thank you so much. This was a video I had planned on doing for so long. I wasn't expecting the video to be this long. When I get it up on the other channel, I'm going to have to break it up into 2 parts. Break it up into the part where I did the synopsis, and then put it into the part where Crystalline and I got to talking, because I just thought we were going to come for a half-hour little conversation, maybe 15 minutes, but it became a whole new show. So on that note, I'm going to see you all in the next video. I'm going to go get myself something to eat, and I will see you all later. Make sure that you're on my mailing list, TanyaTKO.com. Click on the subscribe button, join the mailing list, and go out there and love one another. But most importantly, love yourself. And part of loving yourself is being open to forming collaborations, reaching out to people that you may not have known before. And, people say it's so difficult to make friendships once you grow up. If that is your affirmation, that will be your truth. And where's my book of affirmations? Here it is. This is the book of affirmation self-love. It is sold out worldwide right now, but it is in reprint. I just need, it's been a journey because I've had to update my photo and I wanted to update each page. So each page of this, all you have to do is rewrite the affirmation, right? And so like on a page like this, I rewrote my affirmations by hand. This is my personal book. But I wanted people to know and understand that they do need to write the affirmation. So then I put some dotted. So this book is updated. The 2021 version is updated from the 2019 version. So it does have an area for you to just trace over the entire affirmation and get that affirmation out. So it is sold out worldwide and it will be back in stock in a few weeks. And we're working on getting it into new markets. All right. So we're talking about all over the world, Canada, Mexico, Europe, even Africa. I'm working on that. But I need to find the hub that services West Africa and South Africa. So I need somebody from South Africa or West Africa to write to me and tell me which hub services you all, because there's a hub in Dubai and there's a hub in Egypt. But I don't know if they're shipping from Egypt or Dubai, which place they're shipping to, because I didn't see another hub in Africa besides the one in Egypt. So, all right. So I love you all. I will see you all in the next video. And oh, there's a Cash App just came through. Oh, Laravia sent $5. Thank you so much, sweetie. Thank you. Let me send you your heart. I appreciate the love. Thank you. Thank you very much. And S sent $7. So thank you. I appreciate that. And oh, wow, it's just coming in back to back to back. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Let me send these hearts through. All right. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So listen, I'm going to let you all go. It's been a long broadcast. I know you all have other things that you need to do. And when we do these long broadcasts like this, I know that we need to have commercial breaks so that you all can get up, stretch your legs, and do different things. I will be mindful of that. The next time that I do a long broadcast like this, remind me, Tanya, have a commercial break. Remind me, okay? Say, Tanya, have a break so we can run to the kitchen without having to miss anything. Because I remember when I was on Brooklyn Blue and Pink Pills chat, I didn't even want to run to the kitchen because I didn't want to miss any gems. So I understand. So next time we do one of these long form broadcasts, just remind me, say, Tanya, do a quick break. And I'm going to make some commercials, and I'll make the commercials like 30 seconds so that way I'm not talking about the book. I just show the book and I do the commercial for the book. And it's like, get the book, and it has some testimonials or whatever. And then you have like a minute or two to run to the restroom and come back. All right. So I'll see you all later. See you all. Who needs to be booted out? Okay, let's see. Kwasi is saying, you're just jealous of chaos. Has more numbers than you. Tanya, you are the definition of a dirty Dustiana. Oh, come on. Yeah. Listen, now I appreciate your point of view, but calling people names on my channel will get you blocked. So this will be your only warning. If you want to get blocked, by all means. But if you don't, you're able to express your opinion, right? But when you start calling people names, calling them out of their names, you get cut. All right. So we got Kim coming in with $8. Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me send you your heart. And oh, wow. Amber sent $10 for uplifting the ladies. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, wow. They're just coming in back to back. You all are so sweet. I really appreciate that. All right. Here we go. So let's see. It just came through, but it's not refreshing in the system. All right. It's not refreshing. So I will, let's see. So we have Amber, Kim T, Mitchum. Okay, perfect. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I know. Pink Pill is saying quasi equal quasi man. You're so. Ooh. It did get dusty all of a sudden. All right. So listen, I appreciate you all very much. Go out there and love one another. And most importantly, love yourself. And part of loving yourself, like I said, is meeting new people, making collaborations, not just because you know what? The thing is, you see me up here and you may be thinking that I'm a different person than maybe you are. You can collaborate with people in your normal everyday life. The only difference is in enacting the action, actually taking the steps and being like, okay, this is what I want to do. Let me send that letter. Let me send that email. Let me follow up with a phone call. Let me do this. Let me do that. Because like I wrote to Crystalline several times and she didn't respond. And then I saw her in the comments and I said, listen, respond to your email. Some of us take it personally and we're like, darn it, they hate me. And it's not, sometimes people just don't get your mail. You know what I mean? Continue to try, put yourself out there, take risk. You know what I mean? Take risk. And so here we go. Hey, look at LaRon sends $25. Let's see what he says. He says for heart. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, LaRon. I appreciate that. You know what? As a matter of fact, hit me up, LaRon. And I want to catch up on what's going on inside your life. Samaya saying I'm terrible at checking my emails. But no, seriously, what I'm saying is love yourself enough to realize that if somebody snubs you, like let's say somebody really doesn't like you, like let's say they're like you, if you're like, they hate me, they don't like me. Okay. You have to ask yourself, well, what type of person hates a person that they don't know? What type of person hates a person who has been nothing but nice to them? What type of person hates a person? And then you have to think to yourself, well, was that person really of the caliber? So it's like, put yourself out there in these relationships. One of the things that we don't realize that if somebody does you dirty, it's not a reflection of how worthless you are. It's really a reflection of some deep-rooted things going on inside of them. It's yeah, because like there's some people out there who lie, who cheat, who are violent, all types of horrible things. But that's really a reflection of some stuff going on inside of them, honestly. It really is. And if people lie to you, that is their own poor character. On that note, let's get out of here. I will see you all in the next video. I'm going for real this time. Bye, everybody. Make sure you thumbs up the video. If you're watching me on the TV, you can make the screen smaller on your phone. Just hit the thumbs up. It doesn't affect the TV at all. So just get those thumbs up, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace. Love you all.